special presentation of the World Baseball Classic. Last night was not about Dodger Blue, but the blue of Team Korea, who made themselves at home in Dodger Stadium. To the thundering support of their partisan crowd, they picked up a chance to go to the championship game. Now they await the outcome of tonight's game. Team USA in the semifinals, looking to excise the ghost of a disappointing 2006. For Team Japan, it's a dream matchup, facing the Americans on U.S. soil, with a chance to not only beat them, but earn a chance to repeat as champions. For one of these teams, the Classic is over. Does Japan get to defend its crown? Or does Team USA get its first shot at winning it? Semifinal Game 2 from the City of Angels is next. The 09 World Baseball Classic continues in Southern California, noted for its palm trees and places to spend a whole lot of money, like Rodeo Drive. But right now, what it's known for, the final games of the 09 World Baseball Classic, with the hills looming above Dodger Stadium. It's the United States and Japan in semifinal Game 2. With Rick Sutcliffe, I'm Gary Thorne. Welcome, everybody. Some of the most enthused fans watching this, most intent, will be from South Korea. They picked up a win over Venezuela last night. They await the outcome for the finals. They'll play the winner of this game. For the USA team, Rick, this has been a roller coaster ride to get to the semifinal.
Yeah, it really has. You talk about the TV show Survivor. I've never seen it, but watching this series, I'm getting the idea of what's going on. You take a look here, survive and advance. USA was embarrassed back in 2006. You take a look at the injuries that they've had now, but the reason they're here is because of the power. The team averaged over 300 and the 11 home runs. None of them bigger than the one Adam Dunn hit in round 1 to help them survive a scare with Canada. And then David Wright, the comeback against Puerto Rico. That's what got Team USA here to Los Angeles. You take a look, it looks like a celebration from the Little League World Series instead of all the big league players that we've become familiar with. They bring that excitement with them here tonight.
Hard to believe David Wright would say after that hit, that is the highlight of my baseball career to this point. That's how much these games mean to them. But equally so for the team they face tonight, because this team from Japan is a magnificent baseball team.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, they're the defending champions from back in 06. They come into play tonight with a lot of confidence, and most of that confidence comes from their pitching staff. Look at the team ERA of 1.20 in this series. You look at the total hits, most of them just singles. A big blow to the offense, though, losing the power of Murata. But every bit of their pitching is intact. And it always starts with Daisuke Matsuzaka, 18-3 a year ago with the Boston Red Sox. And then you look at 22-year-old Yu Darvish. The flamethrower has been outstanding. And how about Iwakura? Take a look at this forkball. I don't know if I've ever seen a better one. You look at the numbers from a year ago, those three guys have combined to go 55-11. But of course, it is all headed by number 18, Daisuke.
Daisuke Matsuzaka has put up unbelievable numbers both in Japan and in the major leagues, and in the 2 World Baseball Classics he is now 5-0. He was the tournament MVP in the first Classic in 06. But this roster has put up some pretty good numbers against him. The USA roster that he's going to face tonight. On the other side of the coin, Roy Oswalt.
Well, no question about it. They're not familiar with Oswalt. The reason he was moved up to tonight in hopes of using Peavy tomorrow night. But another reason, you look at the numbers there, you look at the guys that have faced him. Since his debut in 2001, Gary, 129 wins is more than anybody in all of Major League Baseball. USA hoping for one more from Oswalt tonight.
This has been a long-awaited matchup in this World Baseball Classic, the United States and Japan. What do you think?
Well, I tell you what, I think it's like Derek Jeter said to begin with. USA, first of all, has to match their intensity. The other thing is Oswalt's got to be good.
All about starting pitching in this game of baseball, and tonight that's not going to change. Davey Johnson out there, the manager, with the lineup card here at Dodger Stadium. Manager Hara for Japan. This is anticipated because the talent you're about to see when we come back is as good baseball-wise as anywhere in the world. It's never supposed to rain in Southern California. It did a little bit today, though, as the early morning clouds rolled on through. Now a good deal blue sky. There are still some clouds left. It is going to be unseasonably cool here in Southern California. We'll get a start game time temperature for you, but it really is a beautiful evening for baseball here at Dodger Stadium with the United States ready to take on Japan. Japan is the home team here for this semifinal game. They have a 5-2 record in the Classic. The United States 4 wins, 3 losses. They will be the visitors. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for the United States. Roberts, Jeter, Rollins, Wright, Dunn, and Braun. McCann will do the catching. DeRosa gets that start at first base, and Granderson in center.
Well, don't forget, he was a last-minute addition. The injury to Dustin Pedroia. You take a look at the numbers. He's hitting .545. Just 3 ball games. He scored 5 runs, and every one of those has been big.
Now we'll see what that offense can do against one of baseball's not only best pitchers right now, but maybe one of the best of all time.
You know, and a little bit different. I mean, everybody has their own style. He was not happy with the rosin bag that was on the mound, so he had a bat boy bring one out from Team Japan's dugout.
So here we go. Last night, most of us, I think fair to say, totally surprised and even stunned at the way South Korea handled a very good team from Venezuela. Will we have a surprise here tonight, or will this be the work it out game that we expect to see both teams have to grind out?
Well, you know, you and I were talking before the game last night. All 4 of these teams could win this thing.
Exactly. Yep. Not anymore, though. Venezuela's gone.
They're gone.
Daisuke Matsuzaka takes on Brian Roberts, and the first pitch will be taken inside for a ball. And we are underway. Many of these players have faced Daisuke in the major leagues, and Brian Roberts is one of them, and he has gone 6 for 12 against Matsuzaka. That one to center field. Fukudome, it's carrying. Oh, goodbye home run! Brian Roberts with a leadoff homer off Daisuke, and U.S. takes a 1-0 lead.
They talked about being patient. They said we're only going to be aggressive when Daisuke becomes aggressive in the strike zone. After taking ball 1, Brian Roberts looked like he was going to take ball 2. Well, he did. He took it over the center field fence.
What a shot, some 400 feet away off Daisuke, the first batter up. Brian Roberts, who is not known as a home run hitter. Now Derek Jeter. 1 up, 1 on, 1 in.
You know, it's amazing, Gary. You and I watching BP. It is blowing in from left center field. That ball had to cut into the teeth of that wind. Very few balls went out in batting practice, and yet that one did.
Boy, did that carry to center. Jeter, a ground ball toward short. Nakajima up with that. Hit it over to first, and there's one away as Jeter is retired.
Batting third, designated.
I don't think Brian Roberts thought initially that ball was going to carry that far. He was running hard.
Well, you know, he only hit 9 home runs during the regular season, most of those at home in Baltimore, which is a very generous hitter's ballpark. Just the opposite here. But you know what, thinking about Back in '06 when they played and Team USA beat Japan, Ichiro led off that game with a homer.
Now Roberts has done it the other way here. That ball is popped up by Jimmy Rollins to shallow center. Fukudomi. That falls in. Oh, you won't see that happen very often for a disciplined team from Japan, but Nakajima, the shortstop, and Fukudomi did not get together.
Gary, it has everything to do with the wind. This ball has to be caught by the shortstop. The center fielder is playing. Look how deep he is to begin with. Then he starts coming. He has no chance. He knows he can't get there. He knows it has to be the shortstop. And at the last second, the shortstop gave up on the ball. And now, even though Jimmy Roberts Rollins is credited with a single, he's not going to be happy to stay there.
There are very few ball games played during the regular season where the weather of any kind has any impact on the game at Dodger Stadium, because the weather generally is just beautiful. But tonight, this is a wind that, as you see, already affecting this ball game, and we'll see whether it dies down as the evening moves along. But it's blowing from left to right field at the start of this game, and the flags have been unfurled right from the get-go. Here is David Wright with a runner at first base and one out.
That's really a mental mistake on the part of Nakajima, the shortstop. He's got to know that wind is there. You take a look at, I think the key to the game for Japan, it's don't beat yourself. If your Daisuke don't walk anybody, and if you're the defense, you've got to be tight. Don't give them any extra outs, which they've already done.
Game time, 60-degree temperature. The wind's blowing at 13 miles an hour from left to right. Kind of cool. 2-0 delivery on the way. David Wright will take it for a strike. The New York Mets third baseman hitting .296 in the Classic. A homer, 4 RBIs, including that game winner we showed you against Puerto Rico. And a throw over to first base. Almost caught Jimmy Rollins leaning a little bit. U.S. has stolen 6 bases in 9 chances here in the World Baseball Classic. Pretty good lead for Rollins. He doesn't go, and a grounder after be played by Nakajima. Hustles it over, and a nice play at first. And there are 2 down. Down to second base goes Rollins. Defense matters, and both these teams, Rick, if they're on, can play it well.
They really can. And you've got Ichiro out there in right field, Fukudomi in center where he was in the '06 World Baseball Classic. Iwamura at second base. We remember him at third base 3 years ago, but he's every bit as good there as he was at third.
Now a powerful left-handed bat. Adam Dunn stands in, 2 down. He's got an RBI chance with a runner on at second base. Brian Roberts putting the U.S. on the board early with that home run. Dunn has been on base 6 of the 7 games. He leads the ball club in homers with 3, total bases with 17, and runs scored with 9. And if he yanks one up into this breeze and pulls it, it may go a long way. Fouls that one back off Daisuke. 0-2 count.
Tell you what, I think Adam Dunn was one of those guys added at the end, Gary. Wasn't one of the original guys on the roster, but I think his edge and his attitude, when he found out, he told the people, he says, I'll be there tomorrow, and if you want me to put on the gear, meaning to catch, he said, I'll do that too.
Team USA players have been adamant about how much this game means to them and how much they want to play. 0-2 delivery on the way, and that one will be fouled back again. We haven't even had time to talk about Daisuke Matsuzaka, who everybody believes will be the big lead story to start this game. With that 18-win season last year, he pitched in Japan from '99 to 2006. He won 108 games and only lost 60 with a 2.95 ERA in Japan before he came to the United States.
Yeah, and he just kept right on going when he got here.
Yep. 0-2 count with 2 down. Rollins off second base and missed inside.
Daisuke with 15 wins in '07. He got the decision in Game 7 of the ALCS. He also won Game 3 of the World Series that year for the Red Sox and picked up a ring.
Trying to get out of this first inning. 1-2 count. Rollins being held close at second base. And that is on the outside corner. Daisuke gets the strikeout. Dunn is retired, but USA is on the board. Brian Roberts, the second baseman. A player who came in for another injured USA player delivers the homer and an early 1-0 lead. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for Japan, coming in with a 5-2 record. Ichiro at the top, Nakajima, Aoki, Inaba, Ogasawara, Fukudomi, Jojima, Iwamura, and Kawasaki will be playing in this one at third base.
Take a look at those numbers, though, at 393. They are missing some power, though, with Murata being out. So when you think about this ballpark and how big it can play, you got to put the game in motion.
Roy Oswalt, 31-year-old right-hander against Ichiro, who takes it outside for a ball. Team Japan hitting .286 as a team, but their opponents are hitting only .179. They have outscored teams 36-9 here in the World Baseball Classic. And Ichiro has been cool for the most part in the Classic, batting only .212, a couple of RBIs. He has picked up a triple, did that in the second round. He's trying to get the bat going. David Wright will play in at third base on him. 2-0 delivery, slap towards second. Brian Roberts on a big hop.
Take a look at the numbers from a year ago with the Houston Astros, and don't forget, you know, they weren't very good. So 17 wins, tough to come by. Oswalt also a couple of times in his career a 20-game winner.
Gets the quick first out here. Nakajima, who is playing at shortstop. Hiroyuki Nakajima batting .286 in the Classic. Nakajima's got a little bit of power, hasn't had a home run here, does have a couple of RBIs that he's picked up. All the hits he's had so far have been singles. 0-1 delivery, a little late on it, and he's quickly behind on the count. 0-2.
We'll take a look at the key that we feel like for Team USA. Oswalt has got to match O's, and that means zeros with Daisuke. During the season a year ago, he went 32 innings of scoreless baseball, a club record for the Astros. He needs, I think, to have at least 4 or 5 here to give USA a chance to win tonight.
0-2 count with one down. That'll be outside. For Oswalt, he started the game in Toronto against Venezuela, allowing 3 runs, 3 2/3 innings, 6 hits, a strikeout, and 2 walks. Had a no decision. USA won it 15-6. And then against the Netherlands, 9-3 USA win. Eliminated the Netherlands in that game. He went 4 scoreless, 5 hits, no walks, struck out 5.
Yeah, he picked up the win there. He also got the win against the New York Yankees in an exhibition game for Team USA.
Fastball strike inside corner. Nakajima is retired. 2 down.
Now batting left fielder, number 23, Norachika Aoki.
Take a look at the pitch right here. Watch the glove. Watching both of these guys warm up before the game, Gary, I mean, they were painting with every single pitch, knowing that they had to be sharp with the lineups they were about to face.
Oswalt would love, after getting the 1-0 lead, to take this team down 1-2-3 here. Aoki on the off-speed delivery in there for a strike. Aoki is their left fielder, hitting .393. He has 7 RBIs. He has been a very tough out. And the pitch will be taken inside for a ball. His 11 hits leads this Japanese team. He is second in total bases on the ball club, and his 7 RBIs are tied for the team lead. Inside from Oswalt, 2-1.
Really nothing new for Aoki, though. Hit almost .350 during the entire season a year ago. So this man can swing the wand.
A very good baseball player. .347 one year, .346 the year before, 3-time Gold Glove winner. 2-ball 1-strike count from Oswalt. Slapper down to third will be a foul ball. 2-2.
Talking with some of their coaches and a lot of the scouts the last couple of weeks before this tournament, they say that right now they think he's the best player in Japan all around.
Pretty good tribute. No small matter. Manager Hara in the dugout towards first base. DeRosa. So there's his initiation at first base as DeRosa has to play it out of position. And you can't hide in this game. Gets his first chance and takes care of it. And Oswalt, as a result, a 1-2-3 inning. USA leads at 1-0. USA leading it by a score of 1-0. These two teams getting to the semifinal game with distinctively different numbers. For USA on the left side, it's been about the offense, scoring runs, ERA 6.18. Look over on the other side. Offense not so great, pitching magnificent. 4 straight wins for USA against Japan in international competition. Japan 6 wins though in the last 13 meetings between US and Japan teams. We go to Ryan Braun, who stands in and takes it down low for a ball. The left fielder against Daisuke Matsuzaka.
The guys in our crew have a home run pool before every ball game.
No.
Ryan Braun would have, well, after Brian Roberts, Ryan Braun would have been my pick today.
Takes it outside for a ball. Now, he hasn't played in a week, and some question about today. He's got a right oblique muscle problem.
I tell you what, when he walked by me, I mean, I literally, it felt like somebody had opened a 10-gallon drum of Ben Gay. He's covered in that heat stuff.
Outside for a ball, and he gets ahead on Daisuke. A 3-0 count to Braun. But they're happy to have him in the lineup. USA needs all the pop they can get here in this lineup, and he certainly brings some.
And I agree with you, Gary, and I think it also shows you how this is so much more than an all-star game.
3-0 pitch Braun will take.
He would not have played in an all-star game. There's no question. This is it's a combination of the World Series and the All-Star game. The All-Star game, when you look at the athletes and an all-star team from every country, but a lot more important than the outcome of that.
3-1 delivery by Daisuke. David Wright, who's playing at third base for USA, if this was an all-star game, would not have played. He's got a cracked nail in his big toe and has to have that thing wrapped. And he said yesterday, smiling, I'm 100%. He's not 100%, but there's no way he's not going to play in this baseball game. So David's in there at third base.
There's no way Ryan Braun's at 100%. That was not a very good swing.
3-2 delivery by Daisuke. A chopper down to first base. Ogasawara will go to the bag, gets the out. Braun is retired, one away. For the semifinals and finals, the umpiring crew is expanded to what we have in the major leagues in the postseason, namely 6. Paul Emmel will have the plate in this ball game. Paul Heinem from Australia is at first. Darrell Cousins, U.S. umpire, at second base. Carlos Ray will be at third base from Puerto Rico. Ron Culpa, who had the plate last night, will be out on the line along with Willie Rodriguez. There's Culpa and Rodriguez working the left and right field lines. So a full complement. And that pitch is going to be taken for a ball.
You know, if the routine continues, that means that Darrell Cousins will be behind the plate for the championship game tomorrow. They've used umpires from all of the different countries, but not behind home plate other than USA.
1-0 count, one down. The USA umpires have home plate and second base in every game. Up and cheering.
Jake Peavy can't wait to get to the park tomorrow.
He is scheduled to pitch if Team USA can make it to the final tomorrow. He was supposed to pitch in this ball game, and during the week a decision made by Davey Johnson to flip these two starters, Oswalt and Peavy.
Well, a lot went into that too. Peavy has faced Team Japan many times. Faced him a couple of times internationally when they went over there with the All-Star team. He faced him in 06. And another thing, he also in spring training, he's with the Padres. They share a complex with the Mariners. He sees Ichiro and Jojima. He sees them at least twice a week. So this was done because of that, and also because Peavy was honest before the game. Oswalt's throwing better than me right now.
Yeah, and that's what Davey Johnson said yesterday. Davey said, I think the pitch count and where they're at in spring training, he said, Roy seemed to be further along than Jake, and that's why I did it. Runner on at first base. Here is DeRosa. As Brian McCann drew the walk, Mark DeRosa gets his start at first base. He's been an ongoing story over this past week because Team USA lost Kevin Youkilis, their regular first baseman. An injury sent him back to Boston with a bad ankle. So DeRosa's playing first base for just the 14th time in 11 years at this professional level. Chopper. No, foul ball. DeRosa has 13 times in 785 games played at first base, but He just said, listen, you need me there, I'm there.
Well, that's what he said throughout his career. We take a look at the tapper here. Watch Kenzie Jones right here. Tries to sell that this ball was in fair territory. Comes up, mask off, bare hands it. But a great job there on the part of Paul Lemmel to get an angle to make sure that that ball was foul. Right there, right on the, called it immediately.
Takes the count to 2 strikes. Dice-K's delivery, breaking ball outside. Jojima wanted to check at first base. Emil didn't want to do it, and it will be a 1-ball, 2-strike count on DeRosa. DeRosa's had a home run and 7 RBIs. His offense for this team has been vital to them reaching this level. He leads the team in RBIs with 7. 1-2 delivery, hit high in the air left field. That ball carrying back. Aoki warning track, and he's got it. 2 down.
He did get it. He got every bit of it. That's why he's so frustrated right now. On a normal evening here in Los Angeles, that's a 2-run homer and a 3-0 lead for Team USA. But that wind is blowing in hard. A hanging slider, catches it right on the barrel of the bat, kind of admires it a little bit, gives the toss. He knew that he hit that ball well enough on most days to get out. Not today.
He couldn't believe that one. So back to first base goes McCann, and here's Curtis Granderson of the Detroit Tigers. Granderson hitting .286 with a couple of RBIs so far, making the start in center field. He has hit Dice-K hard, 4 for 9 with a home run in his at-bats against him.
To me, this is the biggest difference between these two teams. Pitching's good, defense is good, but when you look at the power Team USA has at the bottom of the order, unmatched by Japan.
1-0 count, 2 away. McCann off first base. That'll be taken away for a ball.
Granderson with 22 homers last year. DeRosa 21. McCann 23. The last 3 guys combined for Team Japan don't have that many as one of them.
2-0 delivery on the way. Granderson will foul it back. USA has out-homered the opponents 11-10, just 1. They've outscored opponents 46-45, just 1.
Well, and they're 4-3 in the tournament. Again, just 1. But you know what? They've done exactly what they've had to do to move on, and they know they've got to do it again tonight.
And they've got the early lead on the Brian Roberts home run. 2 down here, 2-1. Runner at first base. Slider will miss inside, and a 3-ball, 1-strike count.
This could be a pretty good pitch to hit because of what happened in that man's last at bat. Dice-K taking his hat off, taking a little bit more time than normal, knows that he needs to make a good pitch.
3-1. Runner not going. Dice-K is not pinpoint sharp, not the way we see him in most of his starts, Rick, I think, in this ball game, is he?
I agree with no. Already he's had 2 and 3 3-0 counts in this inning right here. He fell behind Brian Roberts before giving up the home run, so I agree with it. The one thing he has had, though, is the backdoor slider. That might be what he goes to here.
3-2. Runner will be going with 2 down. And Granderson just gets enough of the off-speed pitch. 3-2.
He's got so many weapons. He has so many different pitches. This is a straight changeup right here. Take a look at it. Look at it tumbling down and away from Granderson, fooling him. But that to me is the biggest difference in Curtis Granderson these days. It was just a few years ago he led the American League in strikeouts. He's learned the importance of putting it in play.
Runner will go again. 3-ball, 2-strike count. Granderson takes that to left field. Aoki backing up on it. And he's got it. Other thing interesting, Rick, with that fly ball out, they have not swung and missed at a Dice-K pitch in the first 2 innings of this ball game. If you were in Hollywood and writing a script based on fact, you wouldn't have written it that way. Hollywood, hooray for Hollywood. 1-0 lead, USA on top defensively.
Well, you got to take a look at first base. I mean, not a Gold Glove out there in right field with Adam Dunn, but Mark DeRosa played first base for a few innings last year. That's been it for a while.
Handled his first chance and got the job done at first base. But obviously the eyes on him tonight.
Recognize that glove?
He doesn't. Outside to Inaba, 2-0.
It just flew in today. It came from his teammate with the Cleveland Indians, Ryan Garco. Now, he tried a different one at their workout yesterday. He borrowed one from Adam Dunn, but he said it had mold in it.
Definitely want another one flown in.
I'm not kidding you. Adam said, well, you know, he said it might have been mold. They weren't sure. Adam said somewhere along the line it got wet. And I said, don't you pay a little?
3-0 delivery taken for a strike.
Guarantee you there's no mold in Adam Dunn's bats.
Exactly.
Oh, great job, guys. I didn't see the name on it earlier.
Garco's name on the glove. 3-1 delivery, foul back. Oswalt comes back 3-2. It's not easy to go out and play a defensive position with a glove that you've never worn before.
No, you're exactly right.
That's hard.
He thought he was just going to go with his outfield glove.
That 278 average for the designated hitter, and he is on. Ball 4. So the leadoff batter on. As we've noted, Japan and the U.S. play this game very differently because of their players. Japan will try and be aggressive on the base pass, put people in motion, make things happen. They are not looking for home runs or extra base hits to win games. So we'll see how Tatsunori Hara, their manager, wants to play this one. He's got his first baseman, Ogasawara, coming to the plate, hitting .217, no homers, 2 RBIs in the Classic. David Wright at third base will play even with the bag, and they put an infield shift on. Foul back off the end of the bat.
Here's a guy that can match the power of Team USA. 36 home runs, 96 RBIs, really no speed on the base pass or at home plate. So right now, as a manager, you just got to kind of sit back and watch.
Pitch will be taken up high, and by the way, Inaba, they say, was hit by a pitch. So that ball caught him on the foot, and he goes down not with a walk but with as a hit batter on at first base. Ogasawara, playing in the Japanese league, as Rick said, is a power guy. And with that wind blowing out to right field here, you make a mistake, he gets it up, it could be gone.
I tell you what, and that's another mistake we've seen Oswalt make with that curveball. Gary, you talked about the temperature. It's cool right now. It makes it tough to grip that baseball, and that's a big pitch for him. Normally as good as anybody in the game at dropping it in for a strike, fooling the hitter. It's such an off-speed pitch. If he doesn't have the feel for that, he's just got to simply go hard.
Ogasawara with a 2-1 strike count, and that is inside, and Oswalt falls behind this hitter 3-1. Ogasawara has been an MVP winner in both leagues in Japan, the Pacific League in 2006 and the Central League. That's like winning it in both leagues here in the American and National League in the major leagues. 5-time Gold Glove winner, outstanding first baseman. 3-1 the count on him. Takes that to left center field. That's going to be a base hit. Big jump, and Aba's on his way to third. Is the throw by Braun? Not in time. Runner was moving. Perfect execution. First and third. Nobody out.
That's the difference you were talking about between managers. Normally, if you got a guy up there with almost 40 home runs, you're not going to send him. You just sit back and wait. But by sending him, all of a sudden now you put runners at the corners rather than just first and second on that base hit to left field.
So Japan with a couple of hits off Roy Oswalt. They are trailing 1-0, but threatening here with nobody out.
Putting the game in motion.
Now Fukudomi, one of their many major league players, playing in center field in this game, hitting just .235 in the Classic. Takes that one in the air. It is not deep to left field. And Abe at third is not going to tag. Neither will the runner at first. And a big quick out right there against Fukudomi.
Catcher number 2, Kenji Jojima.
That's something they figured out right at the All-Star break a year ago with the Chicago Cubs. He cannot handle anything up and on the outer half of the plate. You can throw the fastball there. That was the curveball again. Take a look at it. See how he kind of flies open, and because of the long stride, it's almost like he always gets underneath that pitch, and just so many fly balls to left field the second half of the season.
Runners at first and third, but now one away. Ground ball could get Oswalt out of the inning. Swung on a miss. Kenji Jojima is doing the catching. He has faced Oswalt 3 times, and he is 0 for 3 against him. Jojima has had a very fine World Baseball Classic with that .375 batting average. And looking for his 3rd RBI of the Classic right here. He'll take the pitch high and inside, 1-1. A game you got to win if you're going to play in the championship game tomorrow night, so they're not going to wait very long. Fukui, Yamaguchi are both up in the bullpen. Each team has a full complement of bullpen pitchers available to them for this game.
Yeah, but Daisuke was 6 innings shutout his last time out a week ago. It makes you wonder if something's not wrong.
1-1 delivery on the way. That one in the air to right field. Runner's gonna tag here. Dunn is out there. And Avi will come to the plate. Throw will come to second base, and the ball game is tied. Jojima gets the RBI.
Now, how important is it that the manager for Team Japan, Hara, put the runner in motion? If he does not put it in motion, that does not drive in a run. The game is not tied. But because he erred on the side of aggressiveness, he put the game in motion. He has put his team in a position to be where they're at.
That's how they score runs. Here is Sakanori Iwamura hitting at .286, and will take the strike. Second baseman for Tampa Bay during the major league season. Iwamura, 1 of 3 at the bottom of this lineup. Fukudomi, Jojima, and Iwamura all playing in the majors. Runner at first base and 2 down and a 2-strike count.
Big fan of Iwamura. He's one of those guys where if you watch him play for a day or two, you might not come away impressed. But watching him during the postseason a year ago for 2 weeks, you fall in love with all of the things he does.
Reaches for that one. Oswalt will field his position and get the out. So a run in, a hit batter. Inaba came around to score against Oswalt. We've completed 2 semifinal game. The winner goes to the championship game tomorrow night. For the loser, their classic will be over. 1-1. He plays second base for the Baltimore Orioles, and Brian Roberts in his first at bat here in this semifinal game delivered a home run and had put the U.S. up 1-0. Japan has come back to tie it at 1 apiece here at Dodger Stadium, one of the great ballparks in the major leagues, and that is taken for a strike. So Roberts now is 7 for 13 with 1 home run in his career at bats against Daisuke Matsuzaka. 0-1 pitch to him. 0-2.
We saw the guys warming up as they continue to do in Team Japan's bullpen. Watching Daisuke warm up, he looked fine. I mean, everything looked to be healthy. It just makes you wonder if it's his command. You know, 3 of 9 first pitch strikes. Nobody is yet to swing and miss at anything he's thrown.
That just doesn't happen. Well, there you go. No sooner said than done, ladies and gentlemen. And there is his second strikeout.
I'll never forget what the captain and catcher of the Boston Red Sox, Jason Varitek, told me about Daisuke. He said he's not always going to have fastball control, but he will always be in control of his emotions. Even though his command's not there, he's not overpowering. You know what? He's still contending.
Daisuke, a true hero in Japan. Both while he pitched there and certainly has continued since coming to the United States. Here is Derek Jeter. We talk about this Team USA and all the discussions about those players who came to play and those who said no, they didn't want to play for USA. Jeter has been adamant. He said, once you have the opportunity to go out there and play and wear the uniform, represent your country, be around these guys, you realize what an honor this is. And he has been most vocal about talking about other players in the majors who chose not to come play and were asked to, that they should. And he said, there's no question in my mind, when I was asked, I'm there. He's hitting .280 in the Classic. 1-1 delivery to him. Number to short. Nakajima. He has grounded out twice to the shortstop. 2 down.
Daisuke gets beat on one pitch. Ball's behind 1-0, but just in his mind, turn the page. He has been dominant ever since. He's only given up the one hit, and that was a ball that was misplayed.
These pitchers in the semifinal and the final game tomorrow, the starters can go 100 pitches. That's the pitch limit in the World Baseball Classic for these 3 games, 100 pitches.
Daisuke threw 86 a week ago. I mean, I figured he was going to be out there for 100 tonight.
Here's Jimmy Rollins, and a strike taken on the inside corner to him. Gold Glove Award winner last 2 seasons for Rollins. The bullpen is now quiet.
I guess he's okay, huh?
It's hard to tell with this Japanese team when they get their bullpen up exactly what's going on, because everybody throws all the time if you're on the Japanese pitching staff.
Well, it's all, you know, all hands on deck,
Yeah,
right?
well, they do, and it's been noted since Daisuke came over, these Japanese pitchers will go out the day they pitch early in the afternoon. They'll throw 70, 80 pitches in the outfield on the day they're going to pitch. And bullpen guys will just throw in the bullpen even though they may pitch in the game. That one is swung on and missed. Good pitch.
Just watching the game last night, don't you feel like both of these teams don't want to go home without using Felix Hernandez?
I think you'll see all they got in this game. 2-ball, 2-strike count with 2 down. And fouled away by Rollins. He had a single his first time up, hitting .333 now in the Classic for Jimmy Rollins. The feeling this ball game may just settle in.
Yeah.
And be real tight and tough. 2-2, 2 down.
Here we are in the 3rd inning, the 2nd time around. Daisuke has found the strike zone with his fastball, and you just kind of look for that out of Oswalt with that curveball for it to come around along with his fastball, and you know, we could find ourselves in the 7th inning with a 1-1 ball game.
2-ball, 2-strike count. Rollins. He's going to get a base hit. Ichiro over to get it. Rollins, a big turn, will stay. So he's 2 for 2 in the ball game. A 2-out single here in the 3rd inning.
I got to tell you, it was so much fun today watching Team Japan take batting practice. All 3 of their starting outfielders were in position, making plays just like this. I mean, for about 30 minutes, Ichiro cutting over into the gap. You see how the grass is kind of cut. It's kind of cross cut. And as that ball starts rolling, it starts wiggling a little bit. All of those guys had an opportunity to figure it out during BP.
Now David Wright. Rollins goes. Here's the throw down. It is high. Stolen base. Jimmy Rollins, who had 47 stolen bases last season, picks one up here.
47 stolen bases. Only 3 times was he caught stealing. And Gary, we got to remember, he did basically all of that on one leg. He injured his his ankle the first week of the season, was never at 100%, even when he hoisted the World Series trophy.
He's 4 for 5 stealing bases in the Classic and gives Wright an RBI chance. Daisuke gets it in there. 1-ball, 1-strike count. David Wright, 286 in the Classic, 4 RBIs. New York Mets 3rd baseman. He hit .302 last year, 33 home runs and 124 RBI. 1-1 pitch hit in the air. Right. Wind will blow it to the sideline. Tough play and not going to make it, and it is a foul ball. Ogasawara got closest to it, the first baseman.
He was the only one that had a chance. Iwamura could not get there. Ichiro was playing deep, respecting the power of David Wright. And Daisuke gets very fortunate there that ball, because of the wind, continued to head in the direction of foul territory.
It's going to be a tough time making adjustments in the outfield, especially in right. Because that wind's blowing, if the ball gets up in the air, it's going to be pulled towards the seats, but if it's just popped up down the line, if you're playing back, you're going to have a hard time getting to it.
I got to tell you, it was so funny watching Ichiro. After he figured out all of the wind and the grass, he started catching balls behind his back.
1-2.
I mean, he put on a show. He was catching them between his legs, and there was a couple of high school kids that they brought in to help out with shagging. And a couple of those guys, they were joking. One of the guys tried to do it behind his back, almost took his head off. Never come close to making the play, but I would have bought a ticket just to watch Ichiro perform there.
He is a classic. Runner at second base is Rollins. They got a pickoff on. Not going to get there. Count will remain. A ball and 2 strikes on David Wright with 2 down. This Team USA, of course, has lost Dustin Pedroia, second baseman, and Kevin Youkilis, first baseman, injury. Third baseman Chipper Jones, injury. Matt Lindstrom out, injury. 4 players. And as we mentioned earlier, both Braun and Wright less than 100% in this game. 1-2 delivery on the way is outside, and a 2-ball, 2-strike count on Wright.
Let's take a look at the dynamic duo now these days for the Boston Red Sox. Pedroia the MVP, Youkilis finished third, Chipper won the batting title, and Lindstrom now the closer for Florida, all gone.
2-ball, 2-strike count. The USA's here in the semifinal game. 2-2 delivery. Daisuke thought he had that, missed outside, 3-2.
It's going to be a real small zone for the most part with Paul Immel. That is a perfect pitch in the mind of Daisuke. Just missed in the mind of David Wright and Paul Immel.
3-2. Rollins off second. 1-1 ball game. Right center field. Where's the wind going to take this? Fukudome back off the base of the wall. Rollins will come around to score. Wright with a double and a 2-1 USA lead.
Now how big is that pitch?
How big is the stolen base? Even it made that run easy.
Every bit of it all goes into this 2-out RBI by David Wright. Do not take anything away from him. That was the previous pitch that could have been strike 3. You could see the reaction from Daisuke, and then again another hanging slider, but this time the ball tailing away from the center fielder. The wind actually helping that ball get to the wall.
Wright gets his 5th RBI of the World Baseball Classic. USA 2 runs, 4 hits.
Well, watch Fukudome right there. He gets a good jump. He's off and running. You know he's got great range, but that thing got into a jet stream, and just no way he could have gotten there.
And Wright, who is so excited about playing here, puts the hands together at second base. Outside, 2-0 on Dunn, a strikeout victim. His first time up. So USA's picked up a home run, a double, extra base hits in the ball game, and a couple of singles by Jimmy Rollins, who has scored a run. 2-0 delivery. Slider will miss inside. He falls behind, 3-0.
Yeah, you make a great point there, Gary, about that stolen base. Because he was in scoring position, instead of the outfield playing normal depth, they had come in to try to have a throw and a play at home plate on a base hit.
Tough day for the outfielders. They were not going to pitch to him. That was outside to Dunn, and intentionally so. It'll be a walk.
Why not just stand up? Look at where Jojima is. I mean, he hit the glove perfectly. He split the legs of the catcher, but he was in the right-handed batter's box for ball 4.
Don't see that very often, do you?
I almost want to write down intentional.
Yeah.
Base on ball.
Little discussion with Daisuke, who has now walked 2 and struck out 2. Runners on at first and second for USA. Braun coming up. Brian Braun grounded out his first time up. USA has 8 players on this team hitting over 300. Their bats have been hot. A .303 team batting average is the reason they have made it here. And Daisuke finding it difficult to find the outs. He has thrown with the next pitch. It'll be his 60th pitch of this start. 2 away, 2 on. Inside with a fastball.
Well, we've talked about it earlier. I don't want to keep repeating myself with him not throwing first pitch strikes, but look at how much he misses by. That was supposed to be down and away, and he missed off the inside corner.
Just not a sharp start for Matsuzaka. 1-0. That'll be taken down low.
And with the power of Ryan Braun, you can understand why the bullpen is up and throwing. I mean, he's one mistake away from ending the World Baseball Classic for Team Japan.
Yep. 2 relievers up for the second time in the bullpen. Braun is 2 for 5 in his career off Dice K. The 2-0 delivery to him. He's taking it. Is in there for a strike, 2-1, but he was going to make him throw a little bit right there.
I think the pitch that he called the ball on David Wright was better than this one. That ball's low. It almost bounced.
And a big pitch, 2-1 rather than 3-0. Braun hitting .389 with a homer in the Classic. That pitch is going to miss, and Dice K's struggles continue. A 3-1 count. And the discussion going on about how far to go with the starter for Japan.
Tell you what, Reggie Smith, the hitting coach for Team USA, with an outstanding game plan, talking about he will give you a pitch to hit in every at bat. Be aggressive when he's aggressive.
3-1 delivery. He was aggressive. He was aggressive, and it's 3-2.
That's exactly right. He just got a little bit fooled with the movement there. That ball ran back in on him. He was kind of looking for the cutter to go away. Take a look at the movement here. Again, missing the glove, but just looking for the ball to go in the other direction. Daisuke's so good. Everything that he throws has movement to it.
Now the runners get the advantage here. Right at second base, Dunn at first. With 2 down, they'll be going on the pitch with a 3-2 count. And Braun will swing and miss. Dice K just came after him. Gets his 3rd strikeout. But USA gets the lead on a David Wright RBI double. And we'll go to the bottom of the 3rd inning. USA 2, Japan 1. Working in the bullpen for USA is Mel Stottlemyre, a 5-time All-Star, a great pitcher with the Yankees, great pitching coach over the years. This may be the final game that he appears in anywhere in uniform, because Mel believes he's ready to retire. Down to 3rd, running throw. Oh, what a play! David Wright on Kawasaki, the number 9 hitter, gets him.
You can't do it any better. You can't lay down a better bunt, but you can't make a more athletic play than David Wright does here. He gave Team USA the lead, and here defensively, he may have kept Team Japan from getting it back. Watch a ball come up. Look at him come. Look at his body all contorted. Look at the throw right on the money, just in time to nail the speedy Kawasaki. That's unbelievable.
That's a big play. Here is Ichiro. You get Kawasaki on with Ichiro following. You got a whole different looking inning. Here's the 1-0 delivery. Ichiro, first time up, grounded up.
We've just seen the reason that the last 2 years, David Wright not only has won the Gold Glove in the National League, but the Silver Bat.
He is something. 2-0 pitch. Ichiro takes it, and a strike, 2-1. Ichiro is 4 for 8 in career at bats against Oswalt. One of the greatest third basemen of all time, Mike Schmidt, is coaching third base for USA. Recovers and throws it away. Ichiro's on his way to second base. Brian Roberts will make the throw, not in time. The baseball gods giveth, and the baseball gods taketh away.
That's one thing that speed will do for you. You know, with Ichiro running, you got to come up with it cleanly, and when you don't, you got to barehand it and you got to put a lot on it. But he had plenty of time to make the throw. I think what happened there, DeRosa maybe kind of committed a little soon to his stride, kind of leaning out there. Look at where he was out, and he never really got out to the ball. That is a play, and you can't blame Mark DeRosa, but that's a play that a lot of first basemen, Kevin Youkilis, could have made.
His foot's on the wrong corner of the bag, and he's reaching the wrong way. Towering fly ball, Nakajima. That is in the yard with that wind blowing it towards center, and that's who's going to make the catch. Curtis Granderson and Nakajima. That's a big out. Ichiro on at second base, and they're now 2 down.
Wow. Mark DeRosa thought he had a 2-run homer, and Nakajima right there thought he did too. That ball is well out over in Tokyo, and it is normally out of this ballpark if it were not for the wind here tonight.
Right-handers are going to have a problem driving the ball out. Left-handers, if they pull it, will have a much better shot so long as that wind keeps going. Potential tying run on at second base, 2 down. Aoki, who has grounded out, 7 RBIs and a .379 average. He puts one in the air. Derek Jeter. He's got it.
After watching Bobby Abreu last night, when I see a routine fly ball, I don't write anything down. I continue to watch it into the glove.
No hits, an error. Base runner stranded. 2-1 USA. Keep up with all the latest World Baseball Classic news and stats and visit the official online shop of the World Baseball Classic, www.worldbaseballclassic.com. Largest selection of authentic gear, classic items from all 16 countries, clubhouse gear, t-shirts, jerseys, and more. That's worldbaseballclassic.com.
You know, I'll tell you, that's another improvement between 06. The merchandise now is really good stuff.
Is it ever? And highly touted. That pitch is taken for a strike. We've had our own people in the truck running around trying to find some of these pieces of memorabilia which have been sold out at some of the stands. You got to kind of run around to find it. Pitch is inside. We go to the 4th inning. 2 runs, 4 hits, an error for USA. Japan 1-1-0. Roy Oswalt surrendered a single in the 2nd inning. The only hit he has surrendered for USA. And that is taken for a strike. McCann up. It has been another story for Daisuke Matsuzaka with the 2 runs, 4 hits, including a home run by Brian Roberts, RBI double David Wright, and Daisuke has walked 2 and struck out 3. Daisuke's delivery grounded down to first base. Ogasawara will take it to the bag, get the out. McCann retired.
First baseman, number 7, Mark DeRosa.
The Hollywood Hills and that world famous sign, which the Dodgers tried to replicate here with a Think Blue sign that's stuck in the hills just outside of Dodger Stadium. Here is Mark DeRosa. And DeRosa on a check swing takes it away, fly to left, first time up.
Think Blue, huh? I remember Bleed Blue.
Like Tommy Lasorda does?
Well, I mean, I was a 17-year-old kid when I signed with the Dodgers, and that's all I ever heard from Mr. Lasorda. What a great guy, and truly, what an ambassador for baseball.
2-0 delivery, swung and a miss. He keeps coming at him with that slider. DeRosa with a .313 average here in the Classic. The winner will move on to tomorrow night's championship game. Japan is the defending champion. Waiting is South Korea with their big win and a surprising one over Venezuela 10-2. See if the wind blows this one.
It's got it.
Into the dugout.
That for years was an out here at Dodger Stadium, even with the wind. But with the addition of all of the new seats, it took away a lot of foul territory, and it took away that ball from Kenji Jojima.
You see how it's affecting it as the players look at one another, wondering who's going to go after it. Here's the 2-2 delivery by Daisuke. Chop foul by DeRosa. It'll stay at a 2-ball, 2-strike count.
That's one thing, too, as a visiting player running over to the opposing dugout, you're not going to get any help.
No. You'll hear a lot of words, but none of them are going to help you do it.
Oh, they're always telling you to hold up, and then the ball drops right in front of you. You could have caught it.
Daisuke's 2-2 again, and that's outside. We talked about DeRosa having to take over at first base in this tournament now. He's already played second, third, left, and first. That's a utility player, and a good one for Davey Johnson, the skipper.
Well, that's what he did for Lou Piniella and the Cubs last year.
3-2 pitch to him and grounded to short. Nakajima. Sadaharu was talking before the game about the shortstop down behind the cage. I was asking him about who impressed him the most as a player on this Japanese team, and the first name he came up with was Nakajima, the shortstop. He said, I just like quick feet, strong arm, quick hands.
Well, you look at that there. DeRosa got thrown out by about 40 feet. He charged the ball. He came up with it, strong armed, and there is Mr. O.
2 down and nobody on. Curtis Granderson will take it for a strike. Granderson batting ninth, flied out, 868 career home runs. It is the world record for homers. What a great baseball fan and a manager formerly of this team.
What a true gentleman, too. And talking to him before the game, it's so great to hear that his health is so much better. That was the reason he stepped down as the manager of Team Japan. Wasn't doing real well. Says he's doing great now, and that's great news for all of us.
2 away in the 0-2 delivery, and the breaking ball will miss down low, and a 1-ball 2-strike count.
I first met Mr. O in 1975 when
you were 12.
Dodgers. No, I wish. I was 18.
That one to second base. Iwamura is up with that. And a 1-2-3 inning. That is the first 1-2-3 inning Daisuke has had in the ball game. Ball game as expected, real close, 2-1 USA. Talked about the anticipation of these two teams meeting up, USA and Japan. The World Baseball Classic, USA won that ball game in 06. The Olympics, 4-3 USA lead in games played. The World Cup, Japan with a 2-1 edge, and Intercontinental Cup play tied at 1-1. Since the '92 Olympics, US has won 7 games and Japan 6 in head-to-head meetings. Beijing was the last time around, with the United States beating Japan 4-2 in an 11-inning ball game, and then in the bronze medal game, the U.S. beat Japan 8-4. Different rosters, especially for the U.S.
Yeah.
And Aba up as we are in the bottom of the 4th inning. He was hit by a pitch and scored his only time up underneath the glove of Brian Roberts, who may have overrun that. And he gets up slowly, realizing that's what he did, because he was actually there.
Great job getting there. I agree with you. But after falling behind 2-0, a big swing there on the part of Inaba and coming up a little bit empty. Take a look at the range from Brian Roberts, off and running. You're exactly right. It just went right under his glove. I'm not sure if he could have made the play or not, but he normally comes up with that ball.
Not happy with himself. That is a leadoff single. Inaba on. Ogasawara singled his first time up, so 2 hits now off Oswalt. Pitch is inside for a ball.
This is not Roy Oswalt like here. Falling behind. 2-0 on the previous hitter. Now repeating the same mistake to the next one.
Only the second time Japan's had the leadoff man on against him. They scored in the 2nd inning. That ball's going to be a base hit into center field. Granderson. Back-to-back singles here in the 4th inning for Japan. First and second for Fukudomi.
For Japan center fielder.
You can see where this guy has won some batting titles in the past. Look at his eyes. Look at the focus. Again, missing your target as a pitcher, but take a look at the swing right there. That is leveled on the barrel of the bat, and another base hit.
So Japan with a real chance to have an inning now. Oswalt wants that ground ball for the out.
Don't you have
double play
to make DeRosa field this bunt, if indeed it is?
Yes. DeRosa playing first base, as we mentioned, only the 14th time in 786 games. He is not a first baseman. Fukudomi flied to left his first time up, nobody out. He did not show bunt on the first pitch. He does here, and looked like he tried to push it towards third.
Well, you know what? He was bunting for a base hit. I was looking for the sacrifice throughout this whole thing. He had first and third with nobody out his last at bat, couldn't drive in the run. That was a bunt for a base hit. You see DeRosa in at the corners, David right there. Oswalt falling off towards first base.
Fukudomi does not have a sacrifice in the Classic. Japan has 4 as a team. Runners off first and second. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Wright still in at third. Fukudomi ground ball. Brian Roberts over, and he can't play it. A run's going to come around to score. Inaba throw's going to come to third. Ogasawara is in there. And a tough inning for Brian Roberts. Probably will be charged with the error on that one. And this will be a run scored, and first and third with no out recorded.
Well, whether he's charged with an error or not, he'd be the first to tell you that these were 2 plays that he could have made. That has to go down as an error. He tries to get a little bit quick, thinking that maybe he could turn the double play, and instead he has turned this into a big inning for Team Japan.
Plays not made are oftentimes just as important as plays that are. Brian Roberts is charged with an error. Runners on at first and third. Still nobody out. Kenji Jojima had an RBI with a sac fly. Ball game is tied at 2. Outside from Oswalt, a ball.
I've got to think there's going to be some activity here shortly down in Team USA's bullpen. Roy Oswalt does not throw ball 1, and he has constantly done that here tonight.
They're moving down there, Rick. Inside with a fastball this time, and he falls behind 2-0.
We talked about it earlier. Getting that slow curveball over, so important to the success, and usually always there for Roy Oswalt. Whether it's cold, whether it's early in the year, he doesn't have that pitch tonight.
2-0 count, and he missed. Little patience now. Japan was having trouble up to this inning. They'd had 4 at bats with runners in scoring position and had 4 fly ball outs on just 6 pitches. Now they're making Oswalt throw a little here. See if he takes 3-0. He does not. He was hacking away.
Nobody up. That's what I don't understand. We've seen Japan. They've had people up all night. You've got to be, you know, even in this game, go ahead and be 2 hitters ahead rather than 1 hitter behind.
Marcel Latchman, the pitching coach, makes those calls. 3-2 the count.
Well, he makes the call to the bullpen, but
Yep.
it's after being given the instructions from the manager.
3-2. Runners off first and third. Nobody out.
He's got nothing but a fastball.
Jojima, runner goes late on the swing.
That's hard to understand. I mean, the only thing that he has come close to locating, and he's not even really doing that a whole lot, is his fastball. I don't know how you can be late on. You've seen it on every pitch in this at bat. Jojima up to this point struggling in this AB.
3-2 again. The runner at first base was taking off. Fukudome not this time. Ball to right field. It'll blow a little bit over. Runner tagging at third. Ogasawara coming to the plate. Cut off. No play. And Japan has a 3-2 lead. Jojima's second RBI, both on sac flies.
I know what Davey Johnson's thinking. I mean, with a little help from your friends, with some defense behind him, Oswalt wouldn't have been in any trouble. But he's constantly putting himself in trouble by falling behind hitters. And now 2 RBIs for Kenji Jojima, giving them that 3-2 lead.
And a runner still at first base and still only 1 away. Akinori Iwamura grounded out his first time up. Hitting .273, pumps that one to right field into the corner, done over. Not going to have a play on this on the way to the wall. Fukudome will make the turn, going for the triple. Brian Roberts throw to the plate, not in time. A triple and an RBI and a 4-2 Japan lead. Iwamura delivers.
How about the experience at the major league level? Showing up here with the last 3 hitters for Team Japan. Fukudome is the one that scores the run. Iwamura drives in another run. Jojima just had the sacrifice fly. There's the curveball, finally able to get it over. And Akinori Iwamura all over that ball, driving it into the corner. Now you take a look at the team speed for Team Japan. Easily able to score on that ball. And another runner just 90 feet away, as you said, Gary, with only 1 out.
2 singles, an error, a sac fly, and a triple have resulted so far in a 3-run 4th inning against Oswalt. Latchman out to the mound to talk to Oswalt. Davey Johnson, the manager, trying to get Oswalt through this inning. But as we said, the full bullpen is available, and this is a must-win game. And with only 1 away, the infield is going to be drawn in. Kawasaki hitting 9th was robbed of a hit by David Wright on a bunt attempt. fouls that one straight back, he's just going to drive this or try and drive it anywhere to get the run in.
I think he may try to bunt it.
Would not be surprised. He's a real good bat handler. Very solid bunter. He's a leadoff batter, really, if Ichiro wasn't playing in the ball game. Pitch will be taken away, and a 1-ball, 1-strike count on Kawasaki. John Grabo in the bullpen. USA's first warm-up action. .333 average for Kawasaki in the Classic. Takes that one down the line, curving to the seats, and a foul ball. And Oswalt, who would love to get a strikeout here, ahead on the count 1-2.
I think this is such a huge at bat. I mean, when you have a 2-run lead for Team USA, if you can leave it there, you still got the tie and run in the on-deck circle at all times. You push that third one across, that becomes a big lead when you think about the pitching for Team Japan.
Kawasaki, .321 hitter in league plays, got a base hit and an RBI. This is so typical for Team Japan for an offensive inning. And that kind of hit is all about Japanese production. 5-2.
They just battle you with every single thing that they have, and you have to respect it. We saw it last night with Korea, and we're seeing it again. Kawasaki was way out on his front foot. He was fooled by the off-speed pitch. It's down. It's strike 3, but he did keep his hands back, and he got it over the infield.
Now Ichiro. Ichiro has grounded out and reached on an error.
I couldn't believe the bullpen wasn't up sooner for USA, and I can't believe that Roy Oswalt is still out there throwing ball 1.
Very surprised. 1-0 count. And a strike on the inside corner, 1-1.
Now you've got an opportunity to manage again. Hara has been outstanding with sending his runners, taking the extra base. You've got speed at home plate, you've got speed at first, and a huge lead at first.
Kawasaki the base runner, but Oswalt working on Ichiro. 1-ball, 2-strike count. Kawasaki got, as Rick said, a very big lead over there.
I think Ichiro was taken for him, wanting him to go.
There he goes, and it's fouled off. Ichiro wanted him to go on the pitch before that.
That's one of the many things that makes Ichiro such a great player. He took 2 strikes, 2 fastballs, saying, buddy, I'm giving you a chance. Go, go, go. But he has the confidence to hit with 2 strikes, even against Roy Oswalt.
Kawasaki had 19 stolen bases last year. He led the league in 04 when he had 42 stolen bases. DeRosa over there at first holding the bag. 1 away, 1-2 count. 5-2 Japan lead, 4 runs in here in the 4th inning. Ichiro or chopper. Right cuts it off. Got to go to first, running throw, and gets it there in time. Kawasaki goes down to second base, 2 away. Now Ichiro continues to struggle at the plate. He's got an 0 for 3 going in this game, and just breaking that 100 mark in the Classic with an average. He just hasn't had a lot of good at bats. Nakajima coming up. He has struck out and flied out. Their shortstop, whom we talked about as an outstanding fielder. Runner at second, 2 away. And he takes the Oswalt delivery outside for a ball. Hiroyuki Nakajima hit .331 in league play last year. He's a .298 career hitter, 8 years in the Japanese leagues. Oswalt just all over the place, 2-0.
Well, even Roy, right after that pitch, looked into the dugout. I think with the thought of, are you watching what I'm watching? And Davey Johnson continues to watch it.
Dice K loosens.
Oswalt always throws strikes. He's never a guy that beats himself when he's right.
2-0 delivery, and he's behind 3-0 and very close to being out of the ball game. Japan jumping on Oswalt on a tough inning. Error by Brian Roberts. Costly to the third batter up, Fukudomi, who scored. 3-0, hitting on it, right center field, base hit. That'll score a run, going for 2, and in easily on a wild throw by Granderson. Nakajima's got an RBI, and Japan's got a 6-2 lead. And that will be it for Roy Oswalt.
Well, maybe another reason Sadaharu so high on the shortstop, Nakajima. Knocking in that run there, giving him the 6-2 lead. We talked about his defense, just another complete player.
So Japan, to the delight of their hero, has taken a 6-2 lead. USA to the bullpen. Left-hander John Graybo out of the bullpen. He has pitched more than any other pitcher on the USA staff as Oswalt comes out. This is going to be the 6th appearance for Graybo. He's worked 3 innings, given up a run on 4 hits with a walk and 3 strikeouts. Aoki at the plate, runner at second base, 2 down, 5 runs in, and a 6-2 lead for Japan.
Take a look at those numbers there. He's just been outstanding.
Japan has batted around here in the 4th inning. This is the 9th hitter up in the inning. Oswalt giving up in 3 2/3 innings 6 hits so far, 6 runs, no walks and a strikeout, 1 hit batter. 2-1 delivery. Brian Roberts got this one and will get the out, but a very big inning for Japan. So Oswalt charged with the 6 runs that are up, and Japan takes the lead at the end of 4, 6-2. We crown a champion in the 09 World Baseball Classic tomorrow night here at Dodger Stadium. Team Korea awaits the winner of this game, 9:30 Eastern. Should be a great conclusion to this 16-team tourney that will be down to 2 for tomorrow night's game. Japan's the defending champion. Will they make it there? We'll see. Check your local listings. The World Baseball Classic. Baseball spoken here. Dice K will face Brian Roberts. 3 runs unearned in that last inning.
You know, we've got a lot of baseball left, but there's a lot of pitching left down there in that bullpen for Team Japan.
Brian Roberts leads it off, and a chopper. Shortstop Nakajima ran into his second baseman and still gets the out.
You got a couple of guys that aren't used to working with each other. Normally there's some communication on that ground ball up the middle, knowing that if the shortstop can get there, he's got to take it. Reason, his momentum is going in the direction that the throw would be going. Iwamura would be going in the opposite field direction there. But I mean, just what a terrific job there on the part of Nakajima. Staying focused, not giving up on the play, and getting a leadoff man out.
Iwamura is not used to having a shortstop running right into his position and taking the ball. 1 down. Dice K will face Derek Jeter. Jeter's grounded out twice to short.
Tell you what, Jason Bartlett has got some range at shortstop, but not with this guy.
Here's the 1-0. This has been a topsy-turvy game. If you were just watching and weren't aware of the score, you would think Dice K would be behind in this game.
Yeah.
He struggled, trying to throw strikes, a couple of runs, 4 hits off him, but it's looked a lot worse than what it is on the board. Derek Jeter waiting on it. That's going to be a base hit, and a sharp one up the middle.
You know, he's constantly been in trouble. He settled down the last inning, retiring 3 in a row, but it was the bottom part of the order for Team USA. Back up here to the top of the order, and Daisuke finds himself back into the stretch position.
This top part of the order has gone 5 for 9, couple of runs, 2 RBIs, double home run. In the order 5 through 9, 0 for 8. And that is taken for a strike. Rollins 2 singles, stolen base, and a run scored already in the ball game. designated hitter. That's in there for a strike. 0-2.
This is where Jason Varitek was right on the money talking about his pitcher. His control was not there. His fastball was not being commanded. He's walked a couple of people, but you know what? He's got other weapons, and he's always got control of his emotions.
0-2. With Daisuke on the mound, the game started at 8 o'clock in the morning in Japan, Tokyo time. They have had ratings, television ratings for this World Baseball Classic that have been 40% of the viewing audience. They may have 50% of the televisions in Japan watching this ball game because Daisuke is pitching. Enormous interest.
Trying to make me nervous?
No.
You know one thing, he's not nervous.
2 ball, 2 strike count with Jeter on at first base. 1 away. He wanted that call, didn't get it, and it goes full, 3-2.
What do you do here if you're Davey Johnson? I don't think there's any way you can send the runner. You're down by 4.
Georgia's got an arm. Barry Larkin next to Davey Johnson talking there. 3 ball, 2 strike count. Jeter not going. Ball 4. USA right back into the inning. 3rd walk surrendered by Daisuke. He's getting close to the end anyway here because he can only throw 100 and he's already up to 91.
Threw 86 the last time out when he threw that shutout for 6 innings against Cuba. One thing we've learned about this guy, I mean, he's got a little Muhammad Ali in him. Right when you think you got him on the ropes, he's gonna rope-a-dope you. He's gonna come up with a big pitch and get a ground ball double play at somebody. David Wright thinking of another kind of double in this spot.
Hideki Wakui's been up 3 times in that bullpen now in this ball game. 2 on. David Wright, RBI double, 3rd inning. 6-2 Japan leading. And the pitch is taken outside for a ball. The wind is, if anything, picked up. It was blowing 13 to 15 miles an hour. It's more than that now out towards right field, and it is much cooler.
Those are big, heavy flags. You're exactly right.
1-0 delivery, big cut by Wright. 1-1. Talked about their bullpen, Rick, for Japan. Their starters have gotten a lot of attention with Daisuke and the young 22-year-old. Their pen has given up 2 runs in 27 innings. Their ERA of the bullpen is .67 in the Classic. Here's the 1-1 delivery. Wright will take it for a strike. Pull back a little bit on that. 1-2.
That's hard to believe that their bullpen's been even better than their starters.
Team ERA of 1.2 coming into the game. Here's the 1-2 by Daisuke. Wright fouls it back.
A lot going through that 22-year-old man's mind. Is he going to be throwing tomorrow night, or is he going to be on a plane back to Japan?
Yu Darvish.
You know, the same thing going through the mind of Jake Peavy. Am I working tomorrow or not?
1-2. Wright will foul it back. Darvish has made one very interesting comment. 22-year-old that U.S. ball clubs would throw millions of dollars at. And he publicly said before the Classic started, I will not play Major League Baseball. I will quit baseball before I go to the majors. Why? Because my home country needs me to attract children to the game of baseball. I am not going to leave Japan. 22 years old. Pretty interesting.
Tells you a lot about him, doesn't it?
Yeah.
First thing I think of is what a great job his parents have done.
1 ball, 2 strike count. Wright. Runners off first and second base. Daisuke a long look. And Wright had a reach for that one, and it'll be another foul ball.
You want to see how a guy wins a silver bat as the best offensive player at his position, how he hits over 300. You're able to get a piece of what could have been. Maybe it's ball 3. but or ball 2. It might have been strike 3. Just the knowledge of that strike zone and making sure that gives himself an opportunity to see another pitch and hope that the pitcher makes a mistake.
Great shot from on high at Dodger Stadium. 1-2 delivery on the way. Got him. He stayed right there. Dice-K did. Wright didn't think so. 2 down. 4th strikeout.
Well, it was the exact same pitch that we saw in the previous one. David swinging the bat at that pitch. When you see the catcher yank it back, he too is telling you that the ball was off the plate. See how he brings it back there? That's what got him the call. Remember earlier in the evening when that same pitch was called a ball to David Wright, he got another pitch. He doubled off of that one. He didn't get another look there.
And that is going to be it for Daisuke Matsuzaka, their starter, who will leave with a chance to win the ball game. 4 2/3 innings, 2 runs on 5 hits so far. He's given up 3 walks and has 4 strikeouts. And he battled. He didn't have a really sharp, strong day, but he's going to leave with his club on top 6-2.
You know, you got to remember too, it's only like the 5th or 6th outing for both of these starting pitchers. I mean, they're right at the end of spring training normally. Now they find themselves in the fire.
And now we will see the bullpen, as Japan's solid bullpen will go to work here with 2 on and 2 down. Japan leading USA 6-2. So Daisuke will be a fan for the rest of this World Baseball Classic. There's the line he has.
Well, and you know the other line he's got is that he's had 5 appearances in the World Baseball Classic. He was 5-0 coming into play tonight, looking to extend that.
Toshiya Saguchi, 4th time out of the pen.
Well, you can see that. He led the league in strikeouts a year ago. He's a strikeout type guy, legitimate 91 with the fastball and an even better breaking ball.
4 1/3 innings and 5 strikeouts recorded. Left-hander will face Adam Dunn. Jeter's at second base. Rollins is on at first with 2 away. And that will miss down low for a ball. Dunn has struck out and drawn a walk so far in the ball game. Saguchi is 28 years old, 7 years pitching in the Japanese League, 64 wins, 36 losses. Used primarily as a starter, almost exclusively. Japan made the interesting move, though, of 10 of their 13 pitchers are starters for this World Baseball Classic.
Well, you know, to me, Gary, it's a lot like in the minor leagues. You have your best pitchers, as even though they're going to maybe be a reliever in the big leagues, they're starting down there. That's where they get their work. That's where your best arms normally are.
1 ball, 1 strike count. Pitch will be taken down low, and it's 2-1.
Kind of thinking about what you mentioned there on Dunn. He's had a walk and had a strikeout. That's kind of typical of his years. But he also mixes in 40 home runs.
He has some of the strangest numbers in baseball. Tons of strikeouts, tons of walks, and homers.
Huge on base percentage, huge slugging percentage, but among the league leaders in strikeouts.
Got 3 home runs, 4 RBIs in the Classic. It's a big at bat here in this ball game, and that is taken down low, and a 3 ball 1 strike count to Dunn with Ryan Braun waiting on deck. Saguchi, 36 walks and 196 innings in league play last year. Tremendous ratio, 36 walks, 213 strikeouts, more than a strikeout per inning. 3-1 count. And Dunn makes it 3-2.
That's what I really like what Davey Johnson's done with his lineup. He starts with a switch hitter and he goes right-handed switch, right, left, right, left, right, left. Makes it really difficult for the opposing manager to manage his bullpen as you get to this spot.
And Hara, the manager for Japan, really likes matchups. Whenever he can, he'll match up pitching, hitting. 3-2, 2 down. Runners will be going. Jeter at second and Rollins at first. 6-2 Japan leading. Got him. So Saguchi comes on and gets a big strikeout. No runs, a base hit. 2 are left on base. And Daisuke Matsuzaka, charged with just 2 runs and 5 hits, could be the winner. Back here at Dodger Stadium, Gary Thorne, Rick Sutcliffe, and our crew. Great to have you on board wherever you are around our baseball world. This winner of this ball game is going to move on and play in the championship game against South Korea tomorrow. Will it be Japan or USA? John Graybo, the left-hander, stays on the mound. Here's a guy you might want to get out. Inaba led off the second inning, and they've changed it, by the way, to a walk, not a hit batter. And he scored. Every time he leads it off, 4th inning, a single, he let it off, and he scored. Inaba will foul that one back. So he's been on twice and scored twice, hitting .316 in the Classic.
All right, well, you said you might want to get him out. You got any ideas how to do that? This guy's a really, really good offensive player.
That's another thing about this team from Japan, Rick. Huh? Every out is tough. Shattered bat. David Wright. I mean, shattered. They do get him. I think you shatter his bat and get a ground ball to third. How does that work? Hindsight's a beautiful thing. This copyrighted telecast presented by authority of the World Baseball Classic, Inc. and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. The accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Ogasawara coming up. 1 down, nobody on. Temperatures dropped down to 58 now.
You know, just looking at that there and how Team Japan works as a team. Now you've got 28 guys pulling on the same side of that rope. Inaba, after the at bat against the left-handed pitcher, as he comes in, goes right to Kosuke Fukudome, a left-handed hitter, to tell him everything he saw about that at bat to give Fukudome a better opportunity of maybe succeeding.
Ogasawara's got a couple of singles and he has scored a run. You see that every game with this team from Japan. 1-1 delivery. As a team, they got together on February 1st. They went to a small town, Miyazaki, outside of Tokyo, a couple of hours. They had over 30,000 people showed up to watch them practice in this town.
The first practice.
Wow. Strike taken on the outside corner. Graybo gets him 2 down.
Well, to me, that's been happening throughout the World Baseball Classic. You think about Team USA and the exhibition games they played that were sold out. When Japan and Korea came over after round 1 and played in some games, the big crowds for that. Being there in Toronto for USA Canada, 43,000. I mean, the Blue Jays only do that with the Yankees and Red Sox in town.
Fukudome up. Davey Johnson talking with Davey before the game, the USA manager. He said that's one of the things we have to contend with. It's disadvantageous for us. We cannot get our guys together to practice much at all. We can't get the team together because of spring training, of course, with teams getting ready to go in the major leagues. So the other ball clubs, South Korea does the same thing. And Dominican gets some of their guys together who are still home. Davey said we do the best we can with that, but it's not the same. 0-2 count, 2 down. Graybo looking for a 1-2-3 inning. Japan was retired in order in the first, and they're going to be retired in order.
You can forget what Inaba told Fukudome.
That's right. It didn't work. 1-2-3 inning. Graybo. Japan leads it over the U.S. 6-2. Dodger Stadium opened in 1962, and Satoru Suzuki, the dean of Japanese sports writers at the time, was here. Today, a ceremony. Frank McCourt, the chairman of the Dodgers, the owner, Kayozo Koto, who's the head of the Nippon Professional Baseball League, and Tommy Lasorda were out by that beautiful lantern. That lantern was sent by Suzuki, the writer, in 1965 and placed in the Japanese gardens that's now outside the ballpark. The writer had that lantern commissioned specifically for Dodger Stadium. And they celebrated over 50 years of Dodger-Japanese relations today with that ceremony that was out there in the Japanese garden. Top half of the 6th inning. Japan leading at 6-2, 6-6-0 for Japan, 2-5-2 for USA. And a towering pop-up by Braun on the first pitch to left field. Comes into the shortstop. Nakajima's got it. He thought that was going to be beyond him. He'd already turned around and was looking at the left fielder, then suddenly realized he was going to have to make the play.
You know, I think he learned from the mistake that he made back in the first inning on that ball hit by Jimmy Rollins. He realizes that ball, as it starts to come down, it's going to be working its way away from the outfielder. So he went out, he circled it. I'm telling you, it's a tough win. It's a tough guy. What normally would not be a tough play.
Gets it, and there's one away. Seguchi, who came out of the bullpen, will be working to his 3rd hitter here. Atlanta Braves catcher Brian McCann hitting .333 with a homer in the Classic. He will take that for a strike. 1 down, nobody on.
Gary, you made an interesting point about all of the starters put together in the rotation and bullpen for Team Japan. I think back to what Lou Piniella talked about last year when he put together the team for the Chicago Cubs, and more wins than any other team in the National League. He said, I need 3 guys down there that can give me more than just the 1 inning. I need guys that can go out there for multiple innings, and that's what Team Japan has assembled.
And there's much less of the role-playing mentality among Japanese pitchers than there is in the U.S. The Japanese pitchers view themselves as pitchers, and they will do whatever needs to be done. And for them, going back and forth from starter to reliever, they don't care.
That's a great point. And you think about like DeRosa and his versatility. You know that helped the Cubs.
Strike taken inside corner to McCann. 2-2.
His willingness to sacrifice his personal statistics for what's best for the team. That name on the front of the jersey always should mean more.
2-2 breaking ball. Hung that one up a little bit high, and a full count. McCann has walked and grounded out so far in the ball game. Mahara and Tanaka, 2 righties. First time they have been up in the bullpen for Japan. And a breaking ball, and he walked him. Seguchi surrenders the free pass with 1 away here in the 6th inning. The other number to keep in mind, and both managers in this game will do it, if a pitcher throws 30 or more pitches in this game, will not be eligible to pitch in the game tomorrow for whichever one of these teams make it.
Well, believe me, each one of those pitching coaches has one of those counters in his hand, and he knows when he's getting close, and that's when the manager will make the decision whether we continue with him or we bring him back the next day.
Runner at first, Mark DeRosa up. DeRosa has flied out to left field and grounded out in the 2 at-bats he has had. Talked about the injuries that USA has had. Keep in mind the leading power hitter for Japan is out, Murata. He would be in the 3 or 4 hole in the ball game, but a torn hamstring has taken him out, and they have a replacement that was just announced today. Not likely to see him. Kanata Kahara came over from Japan to join this team. He was playing in the Japanese league. That ball hit deep in the air to left field. It is way back. Aoki with room, and he's got it. Twice today, DeRosa's had a chance at a homer to left, only to see it caught.
Any other day, I mean, 363 days a year, he has 2 home runs and 4 RBIs. But right now, because of this stiff wind that makes you feel like you're at Wrigley Field, Mark DeRosa finds himself 0 for 3.
He had the same reaction twice. He couldn't believe it.
Well, you look at how big those flags are. I mean, they're huge. And for that wind to be whipping them around like that constantly throughout this game.
Tough at-bats and big outs. There are 2 down with a runner on at first base. Curtis Granderson batting 9th, playing centers, flied out, grounded out. DeRosa.
Well, you know, you blame the wind, and he's up without that wind. Let me tell you something. Give Daisuke a little bit of credit for knowing that. I mean, go ahead, try to hit it out. Good luck.
As long as he got him to pull it to left field, it wasn't going to go. That pitch is taken down low.
That's why I think you and I both, we're so shocked that Brian Roberts' ball went out.
Center field.
Wow, cutting back into the wind.
1 ball, 1 strike delivery. Outside corner strike. Taguchi on the money, and it's 1-2.
It's kind of like that pitch right there. It'll go from right center to down the right field line. It'll go. But when you have a left-handed hitter, you want to stay away from him.
Runner on at first base is Brian McCann. They play behind him with a left-handed hitter up. Takes that one to left field. Aoki. He's got it, and a solid inning for Taguchi. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 left on base. 6-2 Japan. Let's take a look at how we've come to this point of the ball game at Dodger Stadium.
Well, it's real simple in the dugout. You talk about keep the line of moving. Brian Roberts put USA up 1-0 with the first at bat of the night. But after that, it has been all Team Japan, continuing to put the ball in play. That big inning that they had, nobody struck out. They put pressure on the infield. And then Daisuke, when he had to come up with a big pitch, he was able to do it. Only 1 1-2-3 inning, but as he left his team with a 4-run lead.
Daisuke could be the winner with that 4 2/3, 2 runs on 5 hits. Roy Oswalt, notice 3 2/3, 6 hits off him, and then the Japanese hitters 7, 8, 9, 2 for 4, triple, 2 sac flies, and 4 RBIs. They've gotten some punch out of the bottom part of that order, and this wind that you see blowing through the California palms has affected this ball game. Jojima, and that'll be taken down low as J.P. Howell comes on to do the pitching for USA.
Did an outstanding job for the Tampa Bay Rays a year ago, helping them get to the World Series.
1-0 delivery by the lefty to left field, and that's going to be a base hit. The Jojima is having quite a game. 2 sac flies, 2 RBIs, now a single.
You know, and right along with that, Gary, I agree with you, but credit to him for helping Daisuke get through some tough spots as well.
Akinori Iwamura. One of those times where in the World Baseball Classic, teammates get to see one another.
Advantage hitter. Always has been and always will be, because one thing Aki knows, he's not going to drill him. So what do? As a hitter, you dive out over that outside corner and swing from your heels.
The pitcher and the hitter, teammates at Tampa Bay. Iwamura takes that one to left center field. Granderson. Runner halfway will go back. 1 down. Iwamura had a triple and an RBI his last time up.
Well, that was one of those spots where for Davey Johnson, do you bring in a right-hander or a left-handed reliever? The first guy coming up to right-handed hitter. Well, you bring in the left-hander, you get rid of him, you just hold your breath with J.P. Howell as we look at his numbers. But after that, all of a sudden now, you get into a bunch of left-handed hitters in a row.
Kawasaki with David Wright coming in at third. There's only one away, but Kawasaki's an excellent bunter, and Wright's about 3 steps in on the grass at third base, challenging him. He wants to lay the ball down. Jojima at first with 1 out. 6-2 lead for Japan. The winner goes to the championship game tomorrow night here at Dodger Stadium against South Korea. Kawasaki does not show bunt. Good stop made. Runner stays at first. A fall sky. It's a beautiful evening here at twilight time, and the air about as clear as you'll ever see it here in the basin in Los Angeles.
Well, listening to the weather people last night, you would have thought rain was a possibility for the game here. It doesn't rain out games at Dodger Stadium.
Can't do that. That's why they're playing here.
Exactly. Why this? For one of the many reasons why this ballpark was selected.
Kawasaki with a 1-ball 1-strike count on him. Wright still in at third base, although he's backed up a couple of steps. 301 career hitter, 8 years in the Japanese leagues for the shortstop, and now he shows bunt, and we'll take it for a strike 1 and 2.
He's not happy with that call. I think he fooled everybody. everybody was moving, including the catcher. Take a look at the pitch. He thought it was down, pulls the bat back knowing that. But with all the activity going on, sometimes that's a real tough call to make.
Now infield can back up. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Runner off first. Kawasaki laces it left field, base hit. Told you, those kind of hits are Team Japan.
Well, it's their approach. That's their plan. This is exactly what he did with the infield drawn in when he drove in Iwamura after the triple. Completely fooled, out in front, but take a look at where the bat is. Everything's gone except the bat. And then he just simply throws the head of the bat at the baseball, knowing that he's out of the box. If he hits it on the ground, you know, he's got a great start at beating it out. That's how you hit 320.
There you see the distribution. 59 singles, 7 doubles, a triple, and 3 home runs for Japan. Just grind it out. Here is Ichiro. Got 2 on, 1 away. Ichiro had an interesting comment Saturday about playing against the U.S. He said the feeling is just different this time, referring back to '06. Last time Japan came to the United States, we were looking up at them, but not this time. I don't know why, but that's how this team is feeling. 0-1 count. Cut off. DeRosa's going to go to second and will get the force out.
That is a nice play for a guy that's played about 3 innings at that position over the last several years. Really the only play he had. You got a left-handed pitcher on the mound. It's going to be tough for him to get to the first base back. Look at the spin. Ryan Garco's glove. Jeter right there just ahead of the speedy Kawasaki. Look at him coming off there. You're not going to get Ichiro at first base. That's a base hit if you try to go back to first base. You've got to make that decision as you're going to field the ball.
Play by DeRosa. Now first and third with 2 down, and Nakajima has got an RBI double. He's 1 for 3 in the ball game, has 4 RBIs in the Classic. Last season led the Pacific League with that fine on base percentage. He's a very tough out. Batting in the number 2 spot with Ichiro on at first and the fielder's choice. Big potential run at third base with 2 away. And the throw over. Ichiro's comments kind of echoed those of manager Hara. Hara said we need to catch up with the major leagues and we need to go beyond that. He said they want the world to see the power of Asian baseball. Well, showing up. 0-1 delivery on the way, and that's a strike. So 2 strikes. Ichiro with the lead at first, being held by DeRosa.
You got to keep an eye on Ichiro here.
0-2 delivery, runner not going, swung on and missed. Got him, and McCann a good job to catch it. So they get the out, no runs on a couple of hits with no errors and 2 base runners left on. Japan leading it 6-2. It looked like Daisuke was going to be in trouble as USA got that leadoff homer by Roberts, got a lead in the ball game, but Japan came back and picked up a big 5 runs in the 4th inning, and they've got the 6-2 lead now. And Masahiro Tanaka is out of the bullpen.
Well, he's got roughed up a little bit as you look at the numbers there, but this guy is outstanding. Just 20 years of age. He can touch 94 miles an hour, a strikeout type guy. And Gary, again, one of those guys that normally a starting pitcher, but being brought out of the bullpen.
20 years old. You believe that? He wears number 15. He wanted to wear number 18. Can't do that when Daisuke's around.
No.
And Daisuke is his hero, and he hadn't met him. He said the biggest day of my life was when I got to meet Daisuke when this team was put together. So it's been a big time for him. Now he goes to work Another one of the bright young pitching stars of today and probably for a long time to come. USA now to try and get it going. Top of the order, Brian Roberts. And the fastball is there for a strike. Roberts, a leadoff homer, is struck out, grounded out.
You know, Gary, just thinking about Tanaka saying that about Daisuke, I've heard a lot of the guys on Team USA talk about the thrill getting to play and meet Derek Jeter.
Yep. Biggest hand when the team was introduced for USA went to Derek Jeter.
Yeah, it really did, and it usually does, unless you're at Fenway.
No.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't. It doesn't sound the same there.
Son of a gun. Imagine that.
Well, it's just so easy to see why Jeter is so well liked. I mean, he does everything right. He brings it every day. I call him William Wallace.
William Wallace.
I mean, I really do. I think he reminds me of that Mel Gibson character in the movie Braveheart. He's willing to sacrifice for others, and he always has been.
1-2 delivery on the way, and Roberts is a strikeout victim of Tanaka. Top half of the 7th inning.
Let me tell you something, boys. You get a fastball in the strike zone, you better take a swing at it. Look at the fork ball here, and look at Brian Roberts completely fooled. Watch this dive. I mean, looks like it's going to be a strike about halfway to home. You commit yourself to swinging at it because of his velocity, and then the ball almost bounces.
Brian Roberts with a leadoff homer in the first inning is the only leadoff man in any inning for USA to get on tonight. Even with the problems Daisuke was having, he did not let the leadoff batter on. Here is Derek Jeter, a single and 3 times up, hitting .296 in the Classic, and fouls it off. Seguchi worked an inning and a third, a walk and a strikeout, nothing else. Tanaka, the second one on in relief. Ow.
I used to laugh at that till I did it, and it is not funny at all when it happens. That's like, you know, the difference between major and minor surgery. You know, I mean,
yeah,
anything to do with you is major.
Ryan Cashman's getting up off the 4 in New York or Florida, wherever he happens to be now, as Jeter stays in, the GM of the New York Yankees. A 1-ball, 1 strike count, 1 down. Japan 6-2 lead, out hitting USA 8-5. USA has made 2 errors, 1 very costly. Davy Johnson's ball club with those 5 runs in the 4th inning. Brian Roberts' error, 3 of those unearned. Jeter to short, big hop. Nakajima. 2 down.
Take a look now at, well, it's not going to take long. It's going to be a short look at what has happened in the box score for Team USA. Roberts with the leadoff homer. Take a look at Jimmy Rollins there, your designated hitter, having a good night, but not a whole lot else after that.
U.S. had won in this World Classic 2 elimination games coming into this ball game. Twice they could have been knocked out and were able to pick up victories. They'll need a big comeback here in order to do it against Japan.
Well, and we knew going into it that, you know, one of the keys for Team USA was that Roy Oswalt had to match O's with Daisuke, and just ran into some trouble along with some defensive problems in the 4th.
Jimmy Rollins, strong ball game. A couple of singles, a walk, has scored a run, and he has stolen a base. In the 2nd round, USA had to come back against the Netherlands and against Puerto Rico to win ball games to stay alive. The stirring comeback on David Wright's base hit in the 6-5 come from behind win against Puerto Rico. Off speed delivery will miss outside, and a 2-ball 1 strike count on Rollins.
Rollins, a former MVP, can't wait for opening day to pick up his World Series ring with the Phillies.
2-1 delivery. Philadelphia will have the opening game of Major League Baseball on a Sunday night broadcast, and they'll be in Philadelphia to raise the flag as world champions. Tampa Bay, of course, the runner-up in one of the great surprise seasons in Major League Baseball history by the Rays, and really for the Phillies too. A lot of people the spring training a year ago. Didn't think it was going to be Philadelphia.
Oh no, Johan Santana was a Met.
Yeah. 3-1 delivery down to first. That is a fair ball. Rollins on his way with that great speed. Ball rolling around in the corner. Ichiro up with it. Going to try for three. There'll be no relay. A triple for Jimmy Rollins.
It's one of those things where this is why they add the extra umpire. To me, it looked like Paul Hyman at first base didn't know exactly where this ball came down. You take a look at the play. Rollins on base again. Hyman getting out of the way of it, but if he looks at it, he didn't know whether to call that fair or foul. He looked for help, and down the right field line, Willie Rodriguez was there. You see the fair call go out there, and he goes, you know what? I appreciate the help. I'm going with you. And Jimmy Rollins was going to third.
So Rollins on with the triple. It comes with 2 down here in the 7th inning. Now David Wright will try and get the RBI. He's already had 1 in the ball game with a double, 1 for 3. And Wright will take the breaking ball for a strike.
This is something that you just don't hear. I mean, even with all the fans here for Japan, the chant for USA is you can hear it in San Diego.
And the pitch taken inside. 1 ball, 1 strike count. Obviously, all runs now essential when you get a chance to get them in, including here with 2 down. USA running out of outs to work with.
Well, they're down to 7 outs.
Yep. Tanaka, the 1-1 delivery. Foul that one back and gets ahead. A 95-mile-an-hour fastball measured here at Dodger Stadium. Let me tell you something. They're not only proud, they're cold. We're down to the mid-50s now with a brisk breeze.
We all love our country, but I don't know that I would have pulled that off.
1 ball, 2 strike delivery on the way. And a swing and a miss. Play will be made, and Wright is retired. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left on base. Tanaka, the young 20-year-old, gets a couple of strikeouts in that inning. 7th inning stretch time. Dodger Stadium, Japan leading 6-2. Pretty good baseball stories going on there with Tommy Lasorda in the middle. Former Dodger manager, of course, Sadaharu Oh, the world's greatest home run hitter. And that will be taken for a ball as we go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Aoki leading it off.
New pitcher on the mound, Matt Thornton, hard-throwing left-hander from the Chicago White Sox.
Aoki has gone 0 for 3 in this ball game, even though hitting .355 in the Classic. There are the numbers for Thornton.
You know what, though, thinking about Tommy Lasorda and Sadaharu Oh, they first met back in 1975 when the Dodgers invited the Tokyo Giants to come over to Vero Beach to train in spring training. And you know, I mean, I'll never forget, I had an opportunity to pitch against them, and they were telling me, the pitching coaches, you know, hey, Sadaharu Oh's up, you know, he's the home run guy, you don't want to throw him a fastball. And I'm a fairly confident 18-year-old kid, and I said, you know what, you might not throw him your fastball, but I'm going to throw him mine. And it was such a thrill before the game that I threw it to Sadaharu. I threw it as hard as I could. And he hit it as hard as he could. Right back in my head.
Really?
I mean, I went down in a cloud of dust. And he remembered that. He said, you know, I had an orthodox kind of style. I wrapped my wrist. I remember you. And he wrapped his wrist like that. And I mean, it was just really funny. And thinking about Team Japan then, you know, the Tokyo Giants, they really didn't have a lot of power. And you know, most of the pitchers were throwing like 85 miles an hour, but they got to see where they needed to be. They got to see what Major League Baseball was like. Yep. And I agree with Ichiro. They're not looking down anymore.
Here is Kuwahara. I said we probably wouldn't see him in the ball game. This is the replacement for Murata. Kuwahara just arrived from Japan. to be placed on the roster for the game tonight and tomorrow. So he's getting his first at bat here in the World Classic as a pinch hitter, the designated hitter. Inaba walked, singled, scored 2 runs in the ball game. Karahara will take the pitch up high. Karahara's got to be wondering, where am I? What city is it? And what time is it? As the call went out to the professional league in Japan, he's on the roster for the team, but obviously wasn't here with them. And he goes down on a strikeout. Thornton gets it. He's got 2 Ks.
Well, for me, as you look at the in-game box for Team Japan tonight and their success, it all starts with the selection of the designated hitter. Atsunori Inaba. He was the guy that got on base both in the 2nd and the 4th inning, which led to the big 6-2 lead that they've got. 2 runs scored, RBIs throughout, runs scored throughout.
2 quick outs in the bottom half of the 7th inning. Ogasawara, last season playing in Japan, 310, 36 homers, 96 RBIs. He's won 5 Gold Gloves at first base and another one at third. And a strike taken and an 0-2 count. Thornton coming right at him.
He too one of the few guys that has experience from that 06 World Baseball Classic.
0-2 delivery to him and fouled it off. And in fact, we'll break the bat and we'll go for the new one. South Korea awaits the winner. If in fact it ends up being Japan, it's going to be the 5th time in this World Baseball Classic that those 2 teams will have faced one another if USA does not come back. And the fans from both South Korea and Japan have been about as vocal in support of their teams along the way as any of the fans for the 16 that have played. And the fans have been great. Puerto Rico, the Canadian fans. It's really been wonderful. That was swinger get hit. So Thornton comes on and strikes out the side. Wow. Think don't lean in. But I got that fly. He's dead. We've completed 7. It is a 6-2 lead for Japan over USA. One of the surprises of this World Baseball Classic is the team from South Korea with a stunning and dominating 10-2 win against Venezuela last night. They have moved to the championship game tomorrow night. They await the winner of this game. They have done it by playing sound, fundamental baseball. Will it be Japan against South Korea or USA? Well, we're going to find out shortly as we're deep into this ball game.
I tell you what, they absolutely dominated Venezuela in every possible category. They pitched better, they hit better, they ran the bases, they had so much more intensity. And you know that whoever plays them tomorrow night is going to have to match that intensity, or Korea will be the champions.
Takahiro Mahara comes out of the bullpen. Tanaka worked an inning, 1 hit, 2 strikeouts.
Well, this is one of those guys that normally just throws an inning. You pick the spot where you can bring him in, where you can face some right-handed guys. You look at the numbers there. He's not going to walk anybody, but normally just a 1-inning guy, and a guy that can pitch the 9th inning and close if you need it.
Mahara will work to Dunn. Struck out twice and has drawn a walk in the ball game. 3 homers and 4 RBIs for Adam Dunn. A very clean side of the score sheet for USA. Brian Roberts home run first inning, an RBI double by David Wright that came in the 3rd, accounting for the 2 runs on the board. 5 for 9 tonight. Batters 5 through 9, 0 for 12. Not good. It's all been the top of the order. 8 have been left on base by USA.
I agree with you, Gary. Not good, but we go back to what we talked about in the open. The pitching for Japan again has been really, really good.
Daisuke charged with the 2 runs on 5 hits, 4 2/3. That bounces away. Did he go? No, was not a swing. Good hustle made there by Jojima just in case. Yeah, well, this bullpen, again, we said they came in with an ERA of .67. So far, they've worked an inning in the third and haven't given up anything.
Look at this. This is really, really close to being intent and a swing there. Terrific hustle on the part of Jojima, wanting the call, wanting to see if the third base umpire would call strike 3.
2-2 delivery. Sharp breaking ball inside, and the count goes full. 3-2. Team USA has won the last 4 meetings these two teams have had in international play. Different squads, different teams, obviously. But it's Japan with a 6-2 lead in this ball game in the 8th inning. 3-2. See where the wind takes this one.
This isn't going to be fun at all.
Nakajima stays with it. The Dunn's got an 0 for 3, 1 away.
Left fielder number 18, Ryan Braun.
Ryan Braun's got an 0 for 3. He has grounded out, struck out, and popped out so far in the ball game. Bahara on the mound, 27 years old, 4 years in the Japanese League. Did not start any games for them last year. He was just a closer. And 38 saves a couple of years ago. Came back last year with 11 in 21 games. 0-1 delivery. Down to third. Fair ball. That's going to go into the corner. Aoki going over to get it. Brown on his way to second base. Here's the throw in. Not in time. A double.
Milwaukee Brewers have got to be happy to see this. Ryan Braun swinging the bat well, able to run the bases, and even finish it off with a slide right down the line. Ball hit hard, but you just kind of look at the efforts all the way around. You look at Braun's effort. You saw the effort from the third baseman Kawasaki, and then Aoki out there cutting it off and making it a play at second base.
That'll be hit number 7. Japan's only out hitting USA by 1, 8-7, but they got a 4-run lead. Fukudomi struck out, reached on an error, and is flied out. 1 out. In the seats.
Gary, you know what it reminds me of is a little bit of the game last night. You look at the hits are about even. You look at everything that's going on, but look at that 2. That 2's in the same spot that the 5 was in last night for Venezuela.
And this would be a 1-run ball game if you go by earned and unearned runs. 3 of the runs for Japan are unearned. 0-1 count. Mahara looking back to second base. Will miss outside with it. 1-1. The attendance tonight almost exactly the same as last night. 43,630. That's a very strong crowd, but it will be a disappointment here. They were hoping to have a full house for this game.
Don't you think the weather?
This weather affected it. It's cold. I mean, it is cold to sit in the stands and watch the game with that wind blowing tonight. And I know some people who had tickets and not used them did not come out here tonight. Folks in Southern California are not used to cold, windy nights. This is the one day of winter probably for Southern California. 2 ball, 1 strike count. Off the fists, no play. We showed the fans who had San Francisco Giant hats on a little earlier. They ought to be enjoying this. This is a lot like the games at the old Candlestick Park in San Francisco, where it was like this and worse every night.
Absolutely. You know what, though? It's changed, though. I mean,
now you're downtown at the new park.
They've got it figured out. They've got the wind blocked off, and you can enjoy yourself watching a baseball game now.
Candlestick Park was out on a peninsula just outside of San Francisco, and it was cold. 2 ball, 2 strike count. McCann at the plate. And another one foul back. Working Mahara on this at bat is the Atlanta Braves catcher Brian McCann.
Well, McCann, he's some kind of player. Been on base 2 out of the 3 at bats tonight. Had a great World Baseball Classic, an all-star the last 3 years for Atlanta, and just one of the many great young catchers in the game of baseball.
2-2. Only one down. And will miss inside. A lot of full counts in this ball game. 3-ball, 2-strike count on McCann. Waiting on deck, Mark DeRosa. Victorino's got a bat in hand. He would be a pinch hitter if he comes into the ball game. Mahara with a 3-2 count, 1 down, double by Braun. He's on at second. And another foul ball.
Thinking about Team Japan getting their player in for Murata, who was injured. You got to figure Davey Johnson's wanting to get Evan Longoria as we look at him. Rookie of the Year just a year ago. Outstanding young third baseman for the Tampa Bay Rays.
He just joined the ball club, so Davey Johnson would have a bench. Mahara doing battle here with McCann. 3-2 delivery. It'll stay at 3-2.
A lot of these guys just dropped everything. Brian Roberts coming over, and how big he has been. Longoria yet to see action.
And Kurihara in the middle of his playing in his season in Japan. There's Brian Roberts. Looks a little chilly. Eight pitches in this at bat. 3-2 delivery. He's going to provide a souvenir for every fan by fouling off pitches.
43,000 of them, huh?
Probably be a new record. We're seeing everything Mahara's got now, Rick.
Yeah, and he's not seen anything yet that he liked.
No.
Been late on that 95-mile-an-hour fastball, just trying to not chase the splitter down in the dirt.
Count stays at 3-2. Outfield deep. Trying to cut off any extra base hit in the gap here. Runner on at second base, Braun. He's watched a lot of pitches from out there. Here's the 3-2. And he drew the walk, and boy, did he earn that one.
What an at-bat. What a player. And you think about USA right now and their chances. You think about the comeback against Puerto Rico with the double by David Wright. All they're trying to do right now, in the open we talked about their power. Just get the tie-in run to home plate. That's got to be their goal right now.
It's a very quick visit out there. Tatsunori Hara, their manager. He actually played here at Dodger Stadium when he was in college. The USA College All-Star Series included some players from Japan who came over, and Hara played for Japan for that college team a long time ago here in Los Angeles.
Well, you know, there's a bunch of guys for Team USA, a few guys that haven't ever played here before, and like Derek Jeter has only played 1 3-game series here 4 years ago.
Now Mark DeRosa, 2 on, 1 out. DeRosa, on a night when the wind isn't blowing like tonight, probably has had a 2-homer ball game.
Yeah, I think he would tell you the same thing.
All the discussion about his glove having to play first, not a first baseman. Can he make a bigger story with the bat right here? 1-0 delivery. Yes, he can. That's a base hit going into the corner. Braun will score. DeRosa on his way to second. Ball gets away. McCann will score. Into third with a triple and 2 RBIs. And a 6-4 game.
Be interesting how they rule this. Looked like it was going to be a double until the ball got past the left fielder. Could go as a triple, may go as a double with an error, but nonetheless, you bring that tying run to home plate. There it is there. Tried to pin it against the corner. Mike Schmidt telling Brian McCann to come on down, and DeRosa right behind him with just one out, getting down there to third base. It's got to be an error on Aoki, I would guess. It's a tough play. You're in unfamiliar territory down there, but you've got to keep that ball in front of you.
You saw the attendant down there actually picked his chair up and went on the field trying to get away. And USA is right back in it. It is 6-4. Mark DeRosa, for the moment at least, credited with 2 RBIs, and Evan Longoria is going to be the pinch hitter.
How about this? Adam Dunn coming in late with notice and providing a big punch. Brian Roberts doing exactly the same thing. And Shane Victorino was out on the on-deck circle. But before the double, Davey Johnson brought him back. And I'll guarantee you, he told him, he said, hey, if he gets on base, you're representing the tying run. I'm going to go with a guy with a little bit more power than you. Well, when he got on base, that's when Victorino sat down and Longoria stepped up.
How about that? They've got Yu Darvish up in the bullpen. Infield is drawn in with only one away. A 6-4 Japan lead. Evan Longoria, his first at bat in this classic, outside for a ball.
I think you're taking a big chance here by bringing that infield in. That's something you would not normally see in Major League Baseball. You're not worried about that run. You'd still have the lead. You're worried about letting the guy at home plate get on base.
1-0 count. Longoria waiting on it. Strike. An error has been charged to Aoki, so it will be a double and 1 RBI for DeRosa. He goes to third on the error, and the second run scores on the error.
Nobody tonight that swung the bat better than Mark DeRosa.
DeRosa's had a big-time series.
How about Longoria? I mean, he just came from spring training, exhibition games, 5,000 people in the stands maybe, to this.
1 ball, 1 strike delivery to him. Longoria swings through it, and it is 1-2. Evan Longoria trying to get the RBI with DeRosa on at third base. Takahiro Mahara got into a jam with a double by Braun, and then surrendered that walk on the great at bat by McCann, a 10-pitch at bat. They have both scored. One-two delivery. Longoria waiting on the 1-2. Check swing. He held up. And a 2-ball, 2-strike count. Now the decision has already been made down there with Mark DeRosa. Watch this on the check swing. With only 1 away, Davey Johnson will have sent out what he wants the runner to do about going on contact or not.
Yeah, you can't.
With the infield drawn in, he's got to wait till the ball goes through before he takes off. 2-ball, 2-strike count. Swung on and got him with a strikeout. 2 down.
You do everything you can as a manager to give your players a chance to succeed and your team a chance to win. Longoria, with all of his power, 27 homers a year ago, with 1 swing of the bat, could have tied the game. But with 3 swings of the bat, becomes a second out.
Baseball is a game of redeeming features and great theater. Brian Roberts committed the error, a big error in the 4th inning. He is now at the plate with a runner on at third base. He's delivered a home run, 1 for 4. Is it redemption time for Roberts? 3 of the 6 runs for Japan unearned. They have a 6-4 lead. DeRosa at third. Roberts takes a strike outside corner, 1-1.
Surprised that Darvish was up and throwing?
Yes.
Me too.
I mean, they do have another starter available, but interesting. Here's the 1-1 delivery to Roberts. Turnover pitch that broke away from him and down, 1-2.
Tells me that Iwakura, the 21-game winner in Japan a year ago, will be the starter tomorrow if indeed it is Japan against Korea. I like the move. It's not Felix Hernandez on the plane going home.
Not going to leave the best out there. 1 ball, 2 strike count. Brian Roberts. Ground ball back to the mound. And the out is acquired. And Mahara has thrown 30 pitches. So his World Baseball Classic is done. He cannot pitch anymore tomorrow. He can still come back here in this ball game. USA makes it close, though. 2 runs in. 6-4 Japan. Good ball game and a good finish as Japan's got the 6-4 lead. We go to the bottom half of the 8th inning, and Hanrahan out of the bullpen.
He's been tremendous. You can see kind of become a workhorse for Team USA with his 6th appearance.
And now Japan would love to get some of those late inning important runs if they can get even one here in the bottom half of the 8th inning. Fukudome, he's reached on an error, struck out and flied out, hitting 200 in the Classic, and we'll take that for a strike. 1-1.
You know, Gary, we saw Victorino out in the on deck circle. He was going to hit for Granderson. I'm just really surprised why, when Granderson's spot came up as a tying run, why not sending him back out there? I mean, he's got 22 homers, and he was on the disabled list to start the season a year ago, so didn't play the full gamut of game. If nothing else, send him up there. Maybe they go get a left-hander in the bullpen to face him as a left-handed hitter. Then the move's easy to make to Longoria.
Granderson is out of there being pinch hit for, and Victorino has come into the ball game into center field. That is a question for after the ball game.
It's got to be asked
on the decision. Yep. 3 ball, 1 strike count on Fukudome, and he draws a leadoff walk. 6th walk, 5 walks surrendered rather by the pitchers from Japan. That is only the 2nd walk the USA pitchers have surrendered.
Looks like we're going to have a pinch runner.
Very common for Japan to do this. They feel their bench is almost as solid, if not equal to those who are playing, so there's not much of a hesitation. Kataoka will come on, solid glove man, and be the pinch runner. Kataoka running after the leadoff walk.
Well, and again, you know, Fukudome talking with Akinori Iwamura about what he saw up there before Iwamura's at bat.
How are you going to play this one now, Rick? You're in the 8th inning, nobody out, runner on, got a speedster.
I'm bunting.
See if we get the bunt here. Jojima back at third base is right. USA not playing for the bunt. Jojima squares, and we'll take it down low for a ball.
Now I'm playing with house money. Long look down at the third base coach. I let him swing away. I don't put on the hit and run. I might let him try to steal if he wants, but I let him swing away here.
He's got the third baseman David Wright moved in now, so he gets a little advantage.
Absolutely, that ground ball might get by him.
Kataoka at first base, nobody out. Jojima does square. tried to bunt it and fouls it off at the plate. 1-1.
I would have let him take a big swing at that one, and then I might have hit and run on this pitch.
JoJo is hitting .400 so far in the Classic. He's been a very big bat for them. And a good ball game. 2 sac flies for 2 RBIs, and he's picked up a single. Now we'll see how manager Hara wants to play this. Wright is in at third. Outside. 2-1.
So far, it's all been by the book. Let's try to get him in a scoring position. Let the next 2 guys possibly drive him in. To me, the thing that's gotten him here, there's not been a lot of offense, but they've been aggressive on the base paths and as a manager. I think you've got to continue doing that. You've got speed.
Tadaoka at first. Bunt beautifully executed. Wright will get it over there to get the out. Sacrifice, moving Tadaoka down to second base.
That is an outstanding job there. Sacrificing yourself for the team. Where he's at, he was at the top of the strike zone with the barrel of the bat. And watch all he does. When he recognizes it being a strike, he just goes down right to it. Soft hands, dead in the baseball. And nothing David Wright can do but get the out at first.
So now a very big run potentially out there at second base in Tadaoka. Tadaoka stole 50 bases last season, so you better keep an eye on him even here in this point of the ball game, which Jeter is doing. Akinori Iwamura hitting at .292 in the Classic. Iwamura's had an RBI and a triple, 1 for 3 in the ball game. 6-4 lead Japan. We're in the bottom of the 8th inning. The winner of this moves on to play in the championship game tomorrow against South Korea. USA had the early lead in the first inning, 1-0. Japan tied it, went ahead in the third, and have stayed ahead. Inside for a ball. Nice stop made by McCann.
Thinking about what manager Joe Madden said about Iwamura when he was making the move from third to second. He said, well, he's got 3 things going for him: quick feet, soft hands, and a tremendous work ethic. Yeah, you can make that adjustment.
An amazing adjustment that he made to play as well as he did. I mean, what, 4 errors he made all year?
And turned every possible double play.
2-0 delivered to second base. Brian Roberts. Tadaoka goes over to third, but there are 2 down. So they'll be looking for the 2-out RBI. Kawasaki coming up, their third baseman. He has 2 singles, an RBI, and robbed of another hit by Wright earlier in the ball game. Kawasaki at .600 for an average here in the Classic. He hasn't had a lot of at-bats. Had only 2 coming into this ball game. The pitch is taken away, and he is so fast and so good a bunter that the infield is having to move in at first and third, with Darvish continuing to throw.
He's going to throw 100 miles an hour in the 9th inning.
1-0 delivery, ground ball towards the hole. Derek Jeter's up, got to hustle that throw and does not get him, and a run will score. Speed, speed, speed. Jeter had to hurry it. It is a 7-4 game.
He's had that reputation throughout his career in Japan. He's running as he's swinging the bat, and he's always going to hustle, and you're going to have to make a perfect throw to get him every time. Jeter not able to do it, and another run added for Team Japan.
And it will be an unearned run no matter what else happens in this inning. You could just see Jeter. He had one eye on the runner and pulled DeRosa off the bag. So that'll be the 3rd error committed by USA in this ball game, and now 4 of the 7 runs are unearned.
We're thinking exactly alike.
Japan has played their game. I mean, you are seeing the offense of this Japanese team just as it conducts itself throughout this tournament, and the pitching to go with it.
You know, but I'm going to add one thing. I'm not making an excuse for Venezuela, taking anything away from Korea or Japan, or an excuse for USA. But both Venezuela and USA, to a man, players told me before the game, they said, feels like it's been a month since we played. Venezuela said it yesterday, and USA said it tonight. They finished their series in Miami before the one in San Diego was over with. They didn't even really have a facility to take batting practice with yesterday. They just sent them out to another part of the town, and you know what? You just kind of look at a lot of bad swings, and defensively there's been problems for both of those clubs. One of the things that they talk about tightening up, taking some of the air out of the tournament and shortening it a little bit so that these guys can play every day.
Yeah, Bud Selig talked about that yesterday, the commissioner of baseball. I mean, number one, he said there's no doubt we're coming back in 2013. He said it's going to get bigger and bigger. His words, you can count on it. He said he's tired of hearing from GMs and managers. He said, I'll put this as gently as possible, but it's time to put the best interest of the game ahead of your own provincial, as he put it, self-interest, talking about major league teams. But one of the things they're talking about in cutting the time down, closing the timeline, is they're thinking of expanding to 24 teams that would have play-in games into the World Baseball Classic. That would involve a lot of teams from countries that do not have Major League Baseball players, expanding it, condensing it, and probably dividing teams up coming out of pools. Here is Suzuki up against Scott Shields, and inside for a ball. Runner on at first base, 2 down.
These two guys have seen a lot of each other. Angel on the mound, a Mariner standing at home plate.
Runner going. Throw down. They weren't holding. So it was almost for Kawasaki a free stolen base. Shields was not going to throw over, and DeRosa was not holding the bag. Balloon there at the plate has to be batted away. Japan gets another stolen base.
It's a beach ball that comes out onto the field here at Dodger Stadium.
Tough to handle in this wind. Ichiro has had an 0 for 4, hitting just 189 in the Classic. Check swing, went around. Home plate umpire Paul Emmel makes the call. Ichiro saying, no, I didn't. He wanted him to go to third to check. Emmel saying, I didn't have to. I already saw it.
I don't think Paul has asked all night long. There's been several instances where the catcher has asked him to ask for help, but he's refused to do it.
Yep. 1 ball, 2 strike count, a run in here in the bottom of the 8th inning. Ichiro fights it off at the plate.
He's just not right, is he?
No.
I really thought that when this thing started, I go, you know what, he hadn't done anything now, but he really hadn't had to. They knew they were going to be here. Watch him turn it on now, because we've seen him do it now for 8 straight seasons with the Seattle Mariners, but he's not there yet.
First month of the year is his worst historically, career-wise at the major league level. How bad is this? He's hitting about 290 in the first month, but every other month thereafter he hits well over 300, about 330 for all the remaining months. 1-2 delivery on the way, takes that one towards the gap. It is a base hit, and Ichiro's got an RBI. His 3rd of the Classic, as that stolen base matters, and Kawasaki scores.
How did he hit this pitch? He must be a really good golfer. Take a look at this. That ball is in the dirt. It's almost like he went down with a 5-iron and just kind of lifted it out into right center field. Brian McCann down on his hands and knees to block the ball. There's that magic wand that we have talked about.
35 years old now. There was some discussion at the start of the Classic when he started out poorly. Is he done? Is he getting old? Are we seeing the end of Ichiro? Don't count on it. An 8-4 lead for Japan now. Both of these runs unearned, and anything else if they score here will be unearned. Nakajima, a double and an RBI, 1 for 4.
That error on the ground ball to Derek Jeter.
0-1 delivery. Up high by Shields. 2 runs will both be charged to Hanrahan. Unearned. He didn't give up a hit and walked 1 in the 2/3 innings he worked.
Well, it makes you wonder, that thing you talked about with the organization is telling how many pitches and what they can do, why they took him out there.
That one is going to be blooped for a base hit. Ichiro with a big jump will head over to third. All the way back to Victorino. They're going to wave him home. Relay throw hits nobody. Sloppy play by USA. And another run, 3 here in the 8th, 9-4.
I couldn't figure out what Adam Dunn was doing there.
He ran right by the baseball.
He didn't even come close to running in the direction, and that gave Ichiro an opportunity to run a lot. I don't know if he thought Victorino was right there or what, but he's really the only guy that could have cut that ball off. There it is in the air. If he goes back a little bit deeper, the ball's going to bounce toward him. He could have gotten there and possibly kept Ichiro from scoring, but that's not what he attempted to do.
9 runs on 10 hits now for Japan. Nakajima with a double and an RBI. He's at second base. Aoki up. Their number 3 hitters, 0 for 4 in the game.
This game's so much like the game last night. One team shows up and the other doesn't.
Amazing.
The 2 teams that showed up, though, are going to probably show up tomorrow.
Ground ball to second base. Brian Roberts up with it, makes the play. But you had 3 runs in the bottom half of the 8th inning, right after USA had gotten 2 in the top half. 3 outs for USA to work with. It is a 9-4 lead for Japan, and we may see their young starter come on to finish up this game. We'll see when we come back. We are back, and the pitcher who many thought would be the starter in the ball game tomorrow if Japan made it that far, their phenom, 22-year-old Yu Darvish, has come on to close out this ball game.
Well, I asked several of the coaches and even Sadaharu Oh before the game, I mean, what would my guess be tonight on tomorrow night's starter if you win? This was their suggestion. But now with him coming in, and you know what I think what they're doing, Garrett, they got him up. And with a 2-run lead, they had him ready. And when you get a 22-year-old with a future like he's got and all of the great things that he said, you don't take a chance on, hey, all right, we're not bringing you in tonight, and you try to use him tomorrow. He's done. Once you get him up, you get him ready, you've got to bring him into the game. So I totally, in his best interest, agree with this move.
So Darvish will come on to try and eliminate USA as it's a 9-4 Japan lead. We go to the top half of the 9th inning. Kemi has come on to play in left field, a defensive replacement. Aoki out of the ball game and or in the ball game in center field. Moves from left to center. Derek Jeter. Darvish outside with it. This young man we were talking about earlier went 16-4 in league play, 208 strikeouts, 200 innings. Started in all but one of his appearances. Fastball will miss down low. Jeter will try and draw a walk here if he can get it.
Looking at that number on his back, we talked about Daisuke being 18, and that's the number that they call it the ace number. Your top pitcher gets that. Darvish wanted it. He had it for the Olympic team, but was glad to give it up to Daisuke with all the things that he has done.
Someday he'll be wearing it.
Yeah, it'll be his. I agree with you.
2 ball, 1 strike count. And Jeter will take it outside. Darvish missing with it. 3-1. The number 18 in Japan means favorite. It's not only a number, it's a word. You can use it if you want to talk about your favorite player or favorite something. You can use that number and it has that meaning, which is why players want it. Nakajima, 4 times in this game Jeter has grounded out to short. He's also had a single. One down. USA in the 06 Classic finished 8th among the 16 teams. They wanted to make it to the final, try and put a championship away here at Dodger Stadium this year. They are 2 outs away from being eliminated, and Japan 2 outs away from facing South Korea tomorrow night. Rollins will take it for his strike, a triple, a single, and a walk. Big night for Rollins at the plate.
I think USA just ran into a team that was better prepared. More pitching, more depth as far as the starting rotation was concerned. And like you mentioned, they've been, as a team, they've been playing together since February the 1st.
1-1 delivery on the way, misses inside. Very costly errors that changed the whole look of this game with the 3 errors put up by USA. Shields watching, came on to get the final out in the last half inning, filed away 2-2.
Evan Longoria, they've been together since February 1st. He just got here. Big at bat there, thrown right into the fire. Not able to come up with contact to drive in a run. Japan just outplayed USA tonight by a lot.
2 ball, 2 strike count. Foul that one off the catcher.
Talk about the injuries and what could have been, and this, well, take away Murata.
Yeah, they're Japan's leading power hitter.
Well, he led the league over there in home runs the last couple of years. You take him out of the heart of the order, and yet they still put up 9 runs.
And that isn't even the big part of their game. Good pitching beats good hitting. That's the acumen in baseball, has been forever. That one is going to be a base hit. A perfect night for Rollins. A 4 for 4 and a walk and 5 times to the plate.
I think it's great that fans around the world get an opportunity to see why the Philadelphia Phillies were so good. Why Jimmy Rollins won the MVP 2 years ago. This man just finds a way to make things happen. He has been on base all 5 times tonight. And oh yeah, he can play shortstop.
Oh yeah. 9 hits for USA. David Wright has one of them, an RBI in the 3rd inning on a double. He has struck out twice and grounded out. Right now at 290 in the World Baseball Classic. Darvish trying to finish it off for Japan. Japan, the defending World Baseball Classic champions, with South Korea waiting for the winner of this game tomorrow night. 1-1. Japan has lost only a couple of ball games in the Classic this year. South Korea beat them in the 1st round in Tokyo 1-0. And South Korea beat them again 4-1 2nd round. That is a foul ball. One of the complaints about the Classic this year has been the fact that Japan and South Korea and some other teams have played each other so often. It would be the 5th time if they end up meeting in the championship game, and even those 2 teams are saying we're tired of playing one another. One of the things being talked about to try and tweak the next Classic is maybe when teams come out of the same pool in the 1st round, move them to another venue so they don't go to the same venue together, so that you spread out how teams play against one another. 1-2 delivery on the way. and will miss inside with it. 2-2 from Darvish.
I think we both agree that, you know, instead of a date, this is more of like a marriage between baseball and baseball fans all over the world. This is here to stay, and and everybody, just like with a marriage, is trying to find ways to make it better.
2-2. Did he go? Yes. Home plate umpire with a call. 2 down. 2006, the first World Baseball Classic. The team from Japan waiting for a final out against Cuba. They won it. They are the defending champions. And they're 1 out away from having a chance to defend against South Korea. Two down. Rollins on at first base. He'll take second, uncontested. Dunn up at the plate. USA down to a final out. Yu Darvish, the 0-1 delivery. This is down low for ball.
Tell you what, we get some decent weather tomorrow night. It's going to be tough to find an empty seat in this ballpark. I've got a feeling. You want to see some good, aggressive baseball played.
Goes to third. Defensive indifference again. 2 ball, 1 strike count. It'll sound like the Olympics because both the South Korean and Japanese fans start cheering before they get through the gate, and they don't stop cheering until they leave. No matter what's going on, they make noise. 2-2. Over 45,600 showed up when they played one another in Japan. Let's think of the audience worldwide for what looks like it's going to be an Asian final tomorrow night. Darvish with a 2 ball, 2 strike count. That's in there, and Japan's going to defend their title tomorrow night with a 9-4 win over USA.
I think it was a mistake, but I'm not sure. The radar gun on that last pitch said 108. I bet it was every bit of 98. And right at the knees. And you can see now why Yu Darvish was 16-4 with an ERA under 2.
And he comes on and works 1 inning to finish it up. Daisuke indeed will get the victory as the starter, unless the official score changes it. But a performance, a comeback performance in this ball game after USA jumped out early.
That's an experience that young man will never forget. That's an experience that Daisuke Matsuzaka knows well. Now 6 starts in the World Baseball Classic, and he's 6-0.
Now, to decide the home team for the championship game, we're going to have a coin toss that's going to be conducted down on the field now. As the umpires will do it, it'll be South Korea and Japan representatives on hand. Japanese players saluting their fans behind their dugout as they head in. They will play yet another day and come back tomorrow to get it done. And believe me, this win against the U.S., we talked about it at the Open, almost as important to them as a win tomorrow night. To defeat the USA is a very big deal for the team from Japan. They were the runner-ups out of Tokyo to the team they'll play tomorrow, South Korea. They went into that San Diego pool and defeated Cuba twice, shutting them out both games. No easy task. But they lost to Korea and defeated them, as they played each other twice there as well. So the 4 games these teams have already played in this Classic have been split, and then defeating USA here 9-4.
I think it just tells you how much the Korean team has improved. I mean, they too feel like Daisuke and Ichiro was talking about, they don't look up at Team USA anymore. I don't feel like Korea thinks they look up to Team Japan. I think we get out, we're going to have us a wonderful heavyweight title fight tomorrow night.
And Rick, they consider it, Korea, South Korea and Japan, the Yankee Red Sox equivalent when they play against one another. They are genuine rivals. They've played against one another a lot in international competition. And we will be here to bring it to you at Dodger Stadium. Our hope is that it warms up about 30 degrees. The Samurai, the nickname for this Japanese team, representing the country in the World Baseball Classic, will defend their crown. And the 09 World Baseball Classic will continue here at Dodger Stadium for one more game. South Korea and Japan beginning at 9:30 Eastern Time. We look for just a great ball game between 2 fundamentally sound teams. There's your final 9-10-1 for Japan, 4-9-3 for USA. A lot of unearned runs on the board for Japan they took advantage of. The batters 7-8-9 went 4 for 9. 4 RBIs and 3 runs for Japan. For USA, Jimmy Rollins, big ball game, 4 for 4 on 5 times in this game. So who'll be the champion tomorrow? Well, we will see. For Japan, it has been all about their pitching. We'll see whether or not they can continue that. They'll have one of their veterans and their number 3 starter supposedly on the mound in the championship game. South Korea, having the day off today, will have all of their bullpen available and ready to go.
Well, it was just a better team effort on the part of Team Japan. They did everything they had to do. You talked about the offense from the bottom of the order. There was offense in the heart of the order. There were guys at the top of the order getting on base. Ichiro finally with the base hit and an RBI getting it going. That's got to be great news for Japan as they head to the ball game tomorrow night against Korea.
5 different players in the lineup for Japan contributed RBIs in this ball game. For Rick Sutcliffe and all of our crew, I'm Gary Thorne. Hope you will join us again tomorrow night for the championship game of the 09 World Baseball Classic. Have a good evening.